Park, a windswept Latimer Park. A little bit of rain in the air, but it's the sun's out as well, so you've got everything. It's this EvoStick League South Central Premier game. Kettering Town, the Poppies, against Lowestoft Town, the Trawlers. And you'll be able to hear this game live here on Poppies TV. Yes, it's our first ever league meeting against Lowestoft Town. More about that later. But with me is the Northamptonshire Telegraph's, well, John Dunham. You're spending more time on here than regular TV presenters at the moment.
Well, it's nice to be, always nice to be on here with you, Cookie.
I'm sure you have got that written down somewhere.
Just down here.
I thought you would do, yes. But the breaking news at the moment, if you've not seen Twitter, is that Dan Holman is in fact playing this afternoon for the Poppies. The appeal that was put in by the club was overturned, which is fantastic news for Kettering.
Yeah, always worth. You know, it's always worth asking the question, isn't it? That's the lesson to be learned from it. You know, a lot of people say things about the appeals, don't they, and whether it's worth it and everything like that. But Kettering and Marcus Law in particular were adamant that it needed to be looked at, and they've been proven right. So yeah, a successful appeal, and Kettering are stronger for it.
Yeah, we said at the time, I said at the time to Marcus, I thought it was a yellow card, and he said a yellow card, and he wasn't convinced it was a card at all. It was just a late tackle, but the red card was quite harsh. That's been overturned, and you'll have probably seen it on our highlights, and if not, you can do. It's on our highlights against St Ives Town, which was the, we can show you it on our highlights now. It's going to be on screen. So, John, if you want to talk us through from your perspective.
Yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? It's just not a red card. It's a genuine attempt to win the ball. He's a little bit late. His foot is up, but he's not out of control. I think I'm not saying he hasn't caught him, because I think he has, but the reaction of the player is worse than, I wasn't here, so I'm assuming that he didn't go off injured or anything like that.
No, he went on and scored the winning goal. So.
Well, so there you go. So, looking at it from time and time again like that, the more you look at it, the more it just doesn't look like a red card. And if he'd been booked for it, I think everyone would have held their hands up and said, okay, fair enough. But he's not out of control. He's definitely not over the top of the ball. The ball was there to be won, and he was a little late with it, which is what happens sometimes. But a red card, no. And I think the as it's been proven by the appeal as well. So it's all worked out all right in the end, and let's be honest, at the time, did it have a massive effect on the game? Not really. The game was probably,
lost.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's not as if Kettering are going to turn around and say, oh, that's cost us, or whatever. The game was done. What it's done is it's got him available for the next 3 games, which is the most important thing as they look to put last weekend firmly behind them.
Indeed, yes. Kettering need to bounce back from that 3-0 defeat. They did play in midweek against Barwell in the City Security Services Challenge Cup 3rd round, and they won that one on penalties. Dan Holman, in fact, scored the goal of the game in there, of the 1-1 draw, but only 111 witnessed that game. That is the lowest ever home attendance for Kettering Town. First team match. First class match, I'll say, other than the Northants Senior Cup, which the record is 43. So there we have it. But Dan Holman in the news again there. But it was a good workout for Marcus Law's men. He did say on Saturday that he was going to put a decent team out because he wanted to prove to some of the players if they were up into the fitness levels and needed to get themselves back into playing football after that effort against St Ives. Today we've got Lowestoft Town, the Trawler boys. They're managed by Jamie Godbold, and they arrive at Latimer Park in 20th position in the league. They got off to a superb start to the season, winning 3 of their first 4 games, but in recent weeks have only won 1 of the last 12. Is that going to have any bearing, do you think, on today's game?
Yeah, like you said, they did have a great start, but yeah, things. I think just recently, if you look at their last 3 games. All of a sudden, from being struggling, which they were, just in the last 3 games, 0-0 at Banbury, 1-1 with AFC Rushden and Diamonds, and then, the 2-0 win over Royston, which, was a bit of a surprise at the time. So, they come here in good form, actually. They've only conceded 1 in their last 3 league matches. So, yeah, we shouldn't be fooled by positions in the league, as last weekend shows.
Exactly.
It's all about what you do on the pitch. Now, if Kettering come out and play to their pretty much full capacity, then you fancy them to win the game. But, you know, last weekend, they weren't at it. And Marcus Law sat in this chair where I'm sat and told you as much. You know, I watched the interview. He was furious, you know, but it was one of those days where no one turned up. And if no one turns up, then you've got no chance. So it's all about what Kettering do. If Kettering come out of the blocks and they play well and they, you know, try and pass the ball as well as they can on the surface, then they'll give themselves a really, really good chance. But make no mistake about it, Lowestoft have really tightened things up in the last 3 games, so it's not going to be an easy task.
What that did do last weekend against St Ives, it brought in at least 11 teams into the playoffs. I mean, looking at it now, we've got the top 5 on Alvechurch at 26 points, Kettering on 38, equal now with Stourbridge. But you can go right down to 11th place, where you've got Needham Market, Kings Lynn, Leiston, Colville, Royston and Rushall Olympic all banging on the door there, all on around 25, 24 points, you know, so it brings them in. And there are some good games to look out for this afternoon. Alvechurch against Diamonds, Colville against Kings Lynn, Leiston, Stourbridge, that's a biggie. Needham Market, Banbury, that's now come into the equation. Royston, who've lost form since Kettering beat them, of course, at their place, playing Biggleswade, who drawn a lot of games, Biggleswade. Yeah. They haven't lost many, but they've drawn a considerable amount. And even Rushall Olympic now come into the equation with a game against Hitchin. So it does seem that every time Kettering play somebody, they're going to be in the top 6 or 7, isn't it? Yeah,
I mean, if you look at the teams that those teams in that playoff race at the moment, you know, I think Kettering have played pretty much all of them in general and got positive results against them. That's not the problem, you know. You know, aside from Leiston, who came here and won early on in the season, you know, Kettering's concern should be last weekend, you know, because having done their business against Royston and Stourbridge, and then going to Rushall Olympic, which isn't an easy place to go. Yeah. They're quite a good, solid team, and to go there and win, you know, all of a sudden you're thinking, wow, we've cracked this. And as soon as you maybe start thinking that,
do you think that's what may have happened with that 4-4 draw against Redditch, and then suddenly the panic station set in? And
not so much against Redditch, because I was hearing it was just a good game, you know, and Redditch were a decent side who looked in good form in which they were. The interesting thing is that Kettering were coming into a run when they came into that Redditch game against teams at the bottom, but Redditch came here in form. St Ives last weekend, you know, it's a game that Kettering should be winning, really. Today, Lowestoft, they're down towards the bottom of half the table, but they're in form. So it's not so much their league position; it's more what they're doing in their recent games. So, you know, the main point is that you've got to treat everyone the same. You know, if you can get yourselves up to beat Stourbridge here, then you've got to get yourselves up to beat St Ives here, and you've got to get yourselves up to beat Lowestoft here. So, you know, it's almost to say it's quite easy to do it in the big game, because you know you're going to have to play well. You know, when you're playing against Stourbridge, you know you're going to have to put in a real good performance. Today, last weekend,
how big
does a player stroll in and think, you know, this might be straightforward today? I don't know. You know,
how big do you think today's game is now?
I think it's a massive game, because we're talking about a title, aren't we? Let's be brutally honest about it. You've got Stourbridge, who are 3 games away from the halfway stage of their season. Yeah. They're level on points with Kettering. Kettering have got the 2 games in hand. They're not going to come into play, I don't think, until later on in the season. So you've got to keep going. You know, I think there's an acceptance at the moment. You know, and I spoke to a Russian AFC Russian Diamonds player this week about this, and there was an acceptance from him that at the moment Kettering and Stourbridge have gone. You know, there's an acceptance from the rest of the teams at the moment that they are chasing those 2. But at the moment, it's looking like a real tough ask to try and catch either of them. But Stourbridge are a decent side. Look at their reaction since they got beaten here. I think they've won 3 in a row.
Yeah, they got the late goals at Tamworth, didn't they?
They drew against Tamworth, but then they won at Biggleswade, which was a great result for them. And they won away somewhere last week as well, I think, didn't they? Or whoever they beat. I'm
2-1 again, a late goal, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I believe.
And but then they go to Leiston today. Now you've got to think that will hopefully be quite a tricky game for them. Kettering have just got to carry on doing what they've been doing up until last Saturday. It was a bad day. What are you going to do? You have them. You know, there was no way that they were going to go through this season. And anyone who thinks any differently is kidding themselves. There's no way they were going to go through this season without having a bad day. And last weekend, it landed on them. They had a bad day. What are you going to do? Today, they've got to rectify it. So it is a big game.
Well, we're going to give you the teams now. If you've not seen them, I can give you the Kettering Town team. It reads like this. There have been some changes, not too many from last Saturday, but in goal as usual is Paul White. Number 2, Darrell Berry. 5 is Gary Storer. 6, Michael Richards. 7, Lyndon Meikle. 8, Aaron O'Connor. 9, Dan Holman. 12, Dion Kelly-Evans. 14, Marcus Kelly. 15, Declan Towers. 18, Nathaniel Rowe Turner. Your subs today are 3, Ben Tosland. 4, Brett Solkin. 10, Ben Milnes. 11, Rhys Honis. And 16, Luke Graham. Lowestoft read like this in goal is Elvis Putnins. 2 is Armani Shah. 3, Jack Wilkinson. 4, Connor Deeks. 5, Rossi Jarvis. 6, Adam Tan. 7, Henry Pollock. 8, Andrew Frisk. 9, Sean Bamant. 10, Adam Smith. 11, Matthew Brown. Their subs are 12, Luca Viga. 13, Andrew Reynolds. 14, Sion Wren. 15, Fletcher Hedge. And 16, Ben Folks. We'll give you those just before we go on air to commentate a little later. Referee today is Scott Chalkley. Assistants Ian Christian and Scott Hamilton. So those are the 2 teams. I shall be interested to see how Kettering do, or if they do bounce back. It has been said that Kettering always get off to a very good start, which they have done in earlier seasons. When the ground is harder, once it starts getting a bit mushy and a bit wet, they tend to lose their way a little bit. That's happened last season. Again, we're at the same time of the year. You think it's a trend?
If they don't nip it in the bud, then that question will be asked. You know, what's going on in, you know, December and January? You know, can you? It's about switching from the fact that you can go out and play your football on nice pitches and everything like that, which Kettering did, you know, pretty effectively in the early part of the season. But can you go out and have a battle with someone on a, you know, on a bog of a pitch? And that's nothing against Latimer Park, because the pitches all over the place at the moment will be struggling a little bit. So, you know, I don't really want to use the cliche that managers use all the time, but you have to go and earn the right to go and win the game. So therefore you have to match the work rate, you have to match the challenges, and then when you've done that, if you've got that bit of extra quality, which we know Kettering have got, then hopefully it will shine through. But unless you're up for the challenge and accepting of the conditions, then you're going to be in trouble.
It's also a change of formation, isn't it? Before Holman and O'Connor played, we were playing with Rhys Honis as the out-and-out attacker, really, and we had that sensational start. But as the ground has become more of a bog, his influence keeping on his feet has gone, and Kettering's game plan has had to change to accommodate people like Holman and O'Connor and Meikle up front. Well,
this is when you have, if you're going to go out and get the quality of someone like Dan Holman, you know, this is where you're going to have to try and fit him in, you know, and
his record's good, John, isn't it? He scores 7 goals in sort of 8 games. So you know, you can't...
including important winners here and there.
Exactly.
You
know?
So he's more than done his bit. There's no question about that. But it has meant a change in formation, and there were question marks over that after the St Ives game, you know. But also in the Redditch game, I think they changed from, I stand to be corrected, but I think they changed from a 4 at the back to a 3 at the back with the 2 wing backs, and that just seemed to upset things a little bit. But you know, they're trying to find a way to make sure that they've got a good way of playing on these surfaces, and so that you can, you know, it gets a bit samey, doesn't it? So you know, you need to be able to switch things up and change things around a little bit and give other teams something different to think about. So you know, they're trying that. It looks to me, you know, there's three centre halves in the team today, so it looks like they'll be sticking with a 3 at the back, and you know, the 2 wing backs, Kelly Evans, and you'd expect Gary Storer to be the other one on the left hand side. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. But I don't know. I think we reserve judgment for the moment. Let's not forget that in 2 games they've drawn 1 and they've lost 1. You know, it's not crisis. What crisis just yet? As
Marcus Law stated, and I completely agree with him. Had those 2 results been somewhere else in this season, a bit earlier on, spaced out a bit, there wouldn't be so much.
It's been a bit of a shock to the system.
Win, lose, draw.
Exactly. You know, so it is a bit of a shock to the system. It's just important today that, you know, today is one of those days where it doesn't really matter how you get the job done. If they've got 3 points at the end of this afternoon, no matter how they come about, they'll be absolutely delighted, I'm sure.
They will. One thing that was overcome in midweek was Kettering in front of the penalty spot, where they beat an informed Barwell side who'd won the last 3 shootouts this season, both in the City Security Services Challenge Cup. They beat both teams there on penalties, and they beat Stanford on penalties in the FA Trophy. Of course, we knocked Kettering out. I did say on commentary that if we do go to penalties, Barwell would be the favourite, certainly with Kettering's form with the last 3 penalties here.
Football, try and explain it, because against Redditch, Reece Honus took a penalty and rolled it straight into the goalkeeper's hands. Sorry, Reece, but that's what happened. And then Ben Milnes, I didn't see it last week, but I think he's skied one over the bar late on.
Still coming down, I think, that one.
Yeah. So, and then they go and score 4 in a row in the shootout, and as if
What was impressive about that shootout,
it doesn't make any sense,
John, was that Roe Turner took one. I'd never seen him take a penalty before, and it was dispatched very, very well. And Holman's was a beauty.
And I think that is interesting with Holman, because I'm a big fan of strikers taking penalties. It's their job ultimately to put the ball in the back of the net, and you'd expect your striker, whoever they may be, to be able to convert a penalty. So if they get one in normal time today in the game today with Solkin on the bench and Honus on the bench, I would have thought that Holman will be the hot favourite to take it.
Well, we shall see that a little later. You'll hear it a little later. We will have the highlights of today's game on our Poppy's TV website and on our YouTube channel. If you've not subscribed to that, please do so. We need to get to the magical 1,000 to start making a bit of money for the club. We are currently on a fantastic 877, so it's still a way to go. But if you haven't done that, it doesn't cost anything. It's just a subscribe button, and away you go. And as I say, you can see all of our highlights, interviews on Poppy's TV and the YouTube channel. So that is for you. Games coming up in December. Next Saturday, we're away at Banbury United. We've already played there this season in the CSS Cup first round. That was a 3-2 win. Quite a game. I covered that one on my own. It was also a good game. And on the 22nd of December, it is Hitchin Town here at Latimer Park. That is the last game before Christmas. So if you want to get down with all those Christmas presents, etc., I'm sure that marvellous Martin Bellamy will be able to relieve your wallets of all sorts of merchandise in the clubhouse. He has all sorts of stuff: watches, cufflinks, ties, scarves, hats, all sorts of little stocking fillers that cost an exorbitant amount of money that you can purchase. And then it is Boxing Day's game against Bedworth United, and now that is a 1 PM kickoff. So make sure you put that into your diaries, a 1 PM kickoff away at Bedworth. And the final game of 2018 is on Saturday the 29th against our friends Kings Lynn Town at the Walks. And that should be a bit of a game, shouldn't it? It's always a feisty affair when we play Kings Lynn Town. It has been in recent seasons, and I can't see now with Ian Culverhouse being back in control things being any different when we go there just before the new year. So those are the fixtures that are cropping up, and one more game at Latimer Park before the Christmas and New Year period, so please get down and support the club. There'll be all sorts of raffles and that going on, I think, in the clubhouse against Hitchin, so please come down and support the lads. But we'll be going upstairs in 6 or 7 minutes, etc., to join our commentary team, which will consist of myself, Peter Short, and Gary Foreman, I believe, will be up there. Sun is blazing out there now, John. Are you sure you don't want to join us, or are you going to sit downstairs with the old boys?
Don't know. Yeah, they've given me an offer. They've given me an offer of going in the sheltered area. Now I'll probably brave it with you guys.
Oh, you heard it here
and if it's too cold, I'll go with them second half.
I thought you would. But we shall be there. But there we go. So then, yes, Kettering, we need to. Well, they lost their second game against St Ives. It was 3 first half goals. It was a 10-man team. It's the first time this season Kettering have lost with 10 men. It was a bit of a shock, as we said, to the system, but Marcus Law, pragmatic about the game after. He didn't try and bull it over. He told it as he saw it, and the facts are there for all to see. Also, he'll be delighted, no doubt, that the Holman incident was appealed successfully. It does make you wonder, though, what happens now to the referee in that. Does he go back to that? Does the panel go back to the referee and says, well, this has been overturned, here are the reasons why, what do you say about that? Or is it just brushed under the carpet?
No, I wouldn't have thought it'd be brushed under the carpet. I would have thought there'd be a word or two, or, you know, do you know what? I'm interested to know myself. Actually, I don't know how the appeal process works if an appeal is won, but you know, I would have thought that there will be some sort of head of refereeing, particularly at National League level or non-league level, who will go to the referee and just say, look, we've overturned this. This is, like you said, this is the reasons why. You know, and I'm sure they'll get feedback from them. You know, I don't know whether the referees are punished for a mistake like that or anything. You know, if a player can be suspended, then can a referee be suspended? I don't know. I don't think, you know, the thing about referees is I'm always very wary about them, because you know, I know there is a bit of a crisis at the moment with people taking it up, and I understand why, because some of the abuse that they receive is, you know, it's unparalleled to what, you know, players receive sometimes. So
abuse in general,
you know,
to anyone that works in football gets a bit
exactly. You know, it's a passionate sport, and if you're going to be a referee, you've got to be even more thick-skinned than a local newspaper reporter if you're going to be a referee. And they do a thankless task. So you know, you'd like
the violins out.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, but you'd like to think that there will be some feedback going towards the referee and just explaining why they felt the need to overturn it. I think the fortunate thing is, like we said, you know, sort of at the top of the show, it didn't have I don't think it had an adverse effect on the result. I think Kettering were doomed pretty much by that point anyway. So,
although in saying that, we did go 3 down against St Ives at St Ives and pull that one back to 4-3 with 11 players. But yeah, you're right. I think we could have been there till October next year.
If it had been 1-0, you would have been even more fuming, I think, wouldn't you?
But you just go down in history along with Yashin and Oxborough of having red cards rescinded, which is a good one for the statisticians among us. Oh, that's me. But it's a good job that we had it filmed and cut very quickly so that we can get that off to the appeals process. But that's fantastic news for Kettering fans. It means that he's not going to miss the important games against Banbury Hitchin this afternoon, and then over the next few weeks before 2019. Well, I'm not going to mention on New Year's Day yet, but if it
just I was just looking at these fixtures, Cookie, and you know, I mean, obviously today and then Banbury next week, but then that run, I think it's 4 games in 10 days, ending here on New Year's Day. And, you know...
Well, there's 2 more to go then as well. You've got Tamworth coming up on the 7th of January, and then there's going to be the next CSS round quarter-final.
That's it. I mean, it's an incredible run of matches.
That's the worst time of the year weather-wise.
He'll be utilising his squad for it, you know. This is why he would have looked at a few of them on Tuesday night, because these players
do you think that this squad
are going to have a role to play.
You consider 19 players I've got down there in front of me that is basically our squad. Do you think he needs to add to that squad for this period of time in January, for the January sort of fixtures, or is this squad going to be good enough?
No, he doesn't need to add to it. This squad's good enough. This squad's good. This squad is good enough to win this league. No question about it. And it's good enough to get through this next period of time. For sure, you know, it's not going to be easy. There's going to have to be a lot of rest in between matches and everything like that. But you know, certainly for the next couple of weeks, there's no Tuesday night matches, which will help. You're Saturday to Saturday until obviously Boxing Day arrives, and then the thing is, it's this run of games now. Today, next Saturday at Banbury, that won't be a particularly easy game, but you know, it's one of those that you
won last season. Elliot Sandy scored against Kettering.
Yeah, it's one of those where you'd probably like to think that you could nick a result. Hitchin here, who are struggling, Bedworth away, who are struggling. Yeah, and then Kings Lynn away, AFC Rushden and Diamonds here. Kings Lynn you'd expect to be charging up the league. Diamonds who are absolutely flying in their own right, and you know, so you've got to get through that. You've got to get through that period of matches before you go to Kings Lynn with a decent amount of points, so that you've got a little bit of a cushion for 2 big games that, you know, could go either way.
The one good thing about this also is that we have James Brighton, who's been out there training and before the games, so he's fighting his way back to fitness. It'll be like having a new player, that is for sure. So hopefully James Brighton will get some time on the park. It's been over a year now that he's been out of play, and we need to see how he will fit into the side. Cal Templeton hasn't really made too much of an impact yet, and been given one appearance I think so far, and doesn't really show any promise at the moment. We've had that Kazani that came on for the Poppies against Barwell. He needs more play time, but as you say, the rest of the squad seems to pick itself to a certain extent, and the juggling around is going to be what Marcus and Richard Lavery are going to have to take into consideration for all these games. It's, as you say, it's an important run, important time of the year. Usually the team that's top of the league at the end of the Christmas period normally goes on to win it. I can only think of one team in the last 30 years that have been top of the league at that period of time by a considerable amount of points, who finished 5th. I don't want to mention that team.
No, yeah. I mean, for those who don't quite get the joke, it was Kettering Town, wasn't it? 1990?
Yeah, it was Kettering Town, 1990. Barnet, I think, went on to win that league. Well, I'm going to hand you over to our commentary team at the moment. It's going to be Peter Short, I think, up there, and it's going to be myself when I clamber up the gantry along with Gary Foreman. But for now, from John Dunham, thank you very much, John, once again. Always a pleasure to have you in the studio, and myself. We're going to hand you over to Peter Short. It's Kettering Town against Lowestoft Town, live here on Poppies TV Audio.
They're all crucial, aren't they? Between Kettering, this time Lowestoft 20th in the table, and well, Kettering just need to right a few wrongs, don't they? Just check your mic. How are we doing, Gary Foreman?
Hello there, Peter. Good to be back. The sun is shining.
Are you sure? You weren't so happy when you last here.
Well, the Tuesday night wasn't too bad. The Saturday before that, the less said the better. But as you say, it's an important game. It's a bounce-back game for Poppies, and we'll be looking back to get back to winning ways here at home this afternoon.
Excellent. Well, a few notes really. First of all, apologies if the sun gets in the way of any footage that we're going to be showing today. It is very bright. It's a gorgeous afternoon suddenly. Photographer's nightmare actually. We're going to be shooting into the sun later on, but that's my problem, not yours. But apologies if the sun does get in the way today. It's just going to be a bit of a mishmash as well today. Myself, Peter Short, I'll be here briefly. Paul Cook just falls off the edge of the commentary box. It is very windy up here, and so yes, we'll be a bit of a mishmash today, but we will do our best to bring a good service as the teams roll out in front of us. Kettering and Lowestoft in blue today, and as the teams come out today, I'm going to hand over to Paul Cook and Gary Foreman to get the proceedings underway properly.
Thank you, Peter Short, for that introduction there. Yes, it's like the north face of the Eiger up here this afternoon as the teams come out in bright sunshine. Pitch looks a bit worn after that game as my hat goes flying off. I've just caught it, so that is one thing I can't wear up here. Everyone's having a good laugh, thank you very much for that, but that has reduced the warmth in my head now. So there we have it. Teams coming out very, very windy. You might be picking some of this up on the microphone. Sorry about that if you are, but it is extremely windy. If it was in Australia on a certain ITV show, it would be a trial, wouldn't it? Hopefully not that bad, but no, I'm looking forward to this afternoon, Paul, and hopefully I say a bounce back game for the Poppies. I do note though that we were talking about St Ives before the game on Saturday, where that had a horrid run, and then they sort of righted the ship, and they'd drawn two and lost one in the last 3 games. And Lowestoft come today on exactly the same sort of pattern. A horrible losing streak, followed by a win and 2 draws. So I hope that's not an omen. Well, this is a big game, no doubt about it, this afternoon, purely for the fans. I mean, we've only had one loss and a draw in the last 2 games, but Stourbridge have caught Kettering up. They have only 1 goal behind us in the goal position. They're on equal points, albeit Kettering do have 2 games in hand, but those won't come into play until later in the season, and it needs to be a win, I think, this afternoon. The good news is, of course, that Dan Holman plays, and so the appeal was successful, as Marcus Law just gives his banana, as usual now, to one of the unfortunate spectators down there who's accepted the gift. I don't know if they frame them or what they do with them, but it's a thing now where Marcus does give his banana away.
Yeah, you couldn't make it up. Only at only at Kettering. No, it's true though, isn't it? He does give his banana away to a spectator. It's a tradition started this season, and I suppose while we're still top of the league, he should continue it. But hopefully, it's a lucky banana and not a old brown mouldy one.
Well, the sun playing havoc, actually. When we came on air, it was just beginning to spit with rain, where we've got glorious blue skies. Well, not glorious, but blue skies, and a little bit of cloud cover with the sun on our left-hand side, just dipping down over Kettering in the distance there. So that is going to play a bit of havoc with the camera and also with our visuals. It's going to be Lowestoft to kick off. They're playing in all blue with the white socks. They'll be kicking from right to left. Kettering, of course, playing into usual red and black. Referee just counting all the players, so obviously he's good at mathematics. He's away. Mike Capps is here also. He's down there, and referee now is about to get the game underway. Looking up, it's about 5 players for Lowestoft in the line here. The old charge I think we're going to get from the old conference days.
Look at the size of the number 9 there, Paul.
Yes, he's a giant, and it is Bamant flicks the ball through, and that goes straight out of play. And it will be a throw-in to the Poppies on our left-hand side. It's going to be Kelly Evans who'll take this. Kelly Evans, a wind against Kettering at the moment. That will play a factor in the game. Headed on by Smith, but it's Towers who's brought down by Baumont. Towers coming back into the team, being ill and injured recently, I believe, so it's good to have Declan Towers. He was certainly missed against St Ives. So reasonable crowd here at Latimer Park. 3 sides of it are pretty full. Paul kick there is hoofs it straight out of play, wind assisted, but it's on our right hand side, back in play now. Towers heads the ball out of play again. It's almost hit and it's gone onto the gantry on the other side. It might roll off the end. It has, so the ball will be replaced, which it is. Thrown just by the halfway line, taken by Wilkinson. Wilkinson towards Bamant. Flicked on to Pollock, but cleared by Richards, and it's going to be O'Connor chasing this. O'Connor gets in front here. It's headed back though to Putnams in goal, as O'Connor was bearing down on the goalkeeper. First action for the trawler boy. High ball into the centre circle, headed by Richards. Storer's underneath this. He might get there. He hooks the ball towards O'Connor. Connor chests it down to Meikle. Meikle, though, is out-muscled. And Lowestoft get the ball away, but only to Towers. Towers traps it. Puts the ball forward towards Holman. Holman flicks it up. That's going to be cleared. A spoon in the air, though, by Tan. Missed by the number 5, Jarvis. Heads on towards Richards and Storer. Storer in the 6-yard box, has to come out of it, plays the ball back to Holman, a little touch, turn, and Lowestoft luckily get the ball away, but only as far as Meikle. To Richards, puts the ball on the wide-hand side to Roe Turner. Good form here from Kettering. Just outside the penalty area is Roe Turner. He's going down the line. Can he get a crossover? He can. In comes there's Holman. Headed out, though. In comes Kelly Evans. And his shot is hit straight at the goalkeeper, Putnams, on the goal line, and danger averted. But a good move there from the Poppies, Gary.
Yeah, lively start from Kettering with that particular move. It's a difficult surface, I think we can safely say, at Latimer Park. We've had a lot of matches on it recently, and with the rain, so it's going to be difficult for Kettering to play flying football. But that was a good move.
Well, Durrell Berries had to head the ball back to Paul White from the ensuing goal kick. Paul White in all green, his usual home colour at the moment. He's telling Towers to go forward. Puts the ball into play. Floodlights come on. O'Connor's underneath it. Misses the ball though. Richards doesn't. It comes off Storer. Storer gets the way and is judged to have fouled the number 10, Smith. It's a free kick to Lowestoft. in their own half, just by the centre circle on the right-hand side. Looks like goalkeeper Putnins is going to take this in a sort of fluorescent greeny colour, I think that is, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, his first name is, well, Elvis, but we might refer to him as Elvis throughout the game. So Elvis was well known for his, certainly in his later years, for outlandish costumes. So. And that kick from him has gone straight to Paul White, who delivers it straight back out again for O'Connor and Holman to chase. O'Connor's underneath it, does very well there, finds Holman. Holman's going to set away Meikle. Meikle inside the penalty area, put the ball over to the back post and nobody there. It's headed away and Holman gets back into it. Good work from Holman, turns. He's outside the penalty, flicks the ball over towards O'Connor. O'Connor can't get there. Wilkinson can, but only gets the ball to Kelly on the far side. He finds Roe Turner. Roe Turner thought about crossing, doesn't. And gives the ball away, unfortunately, but Towers is robbed by Blamant, and away now come Lowestoft. It could be a challenge here for Kettering, but Storer does well, gets the ball back to Berry, and Berry plays it back to Paul White. That could have been a bit of danger there for the Poppies, but the defence did well. So we're blinded by the light. Another Manfred Mann Earthband track we can mention. Holman's underneath this, wins it to O'Connor. O'Connor's outside the penalty area. He's got Storer with him. He uses Storer. Storer puts one in. Back post. Goalkeeper comes out to catch this. Does well. Does Putnins. Catches it in the 6-yard box. Trots over and holds on to it as if his life depended on it. And Richard Lavery encouraging the team in front of us. Holman and goalkeeper. Sorry about that, that's a good little joke there, but it is the number 7 Pollock, and he's hooked the ball to Paul White, who's out of his penalty area, puts a ball to Kelly to chase. Kelly has got it, done well, does very well, goes down though. Referee says nothing, Kelly remains down, and Lowestoft come away with the ball. He now has stopped play as the wind is causing all sorts of problems up here. Kelly is still down. Referee hasn't given anything. The sports therapist, Rachel, is down there waiting to go on if Kelly needs assistance. She hasn't gone on. Kelly is now up on his feet. And nothing going on at the moment. It's just trying to find the ball. And it's going to be a throw into Kettering, going to be given back as it is to Putnins. Round of applause, a ripple of applause from the Kettering fans for that. So Kelly is okay. It's 0-0 here at Latimer Park, Kettering Town against Lowestoft. You'll listen to Poppy's TV audio with Gary Foreman and myself. And the floodlights are on. It's nice and bright out here. It's chilly. It is December. And it is Richards who wins this from the goal kick. Meikle's underneath it, but so is Deeks. Deeks beats Meikle to the ball. It's headed on though to Fisk. Fisk gets the ball but loses it. Towers plays away for O'Connor to chase, but I think it's going to be Brown that wins that. He plays the ball back to Putnins. He plays the low ball that Richards leaves for Kelly Evans in the centre circle in Kettering's half. Kelly Evans plays a long ball for Storer, and the number 3 Wilkinson makes a hash of that, does a sort of side step and puts it out for throwing. Quickly taken. It's Kelly Evans putting one in. Headed on though, it's Holman. Holman comes inside, there's a bit of a melee. It's cleared, the wind does having effect. Fisk gets the ball away. He's played in Bamant on the far side. He plays the ball through, but Roe Turner should win this. He turns, does well Roe Turner there, and finds Kelly, who flicks the ball up, but it's more in hope than anything else, and the ball finds its way back to goalkeeper who's come out of his area. It's down by the Burger man now, and it's back into play towards Brown. Techland Towers though clips the ball out, and that should be a throw in to the visitors on the far side. Even Stevens so far, Gary? Yeah, even Stevens, both teams trying to acclimatise, and that's to a pitch which, as I already mentioned, has got its shortcomings, but definitely as well the wind today. It's making football very difficult as soon as the ball goes up. into the air. It's sort of heading in our direction by another 20 yards. That's how strong the wind is today.
Well, throw-in comes in, and all Declan Towers can do is head it out for a corner, which with the wind should be a bit of a problem for the Poppies, and with their defensive frailties at the moment. We will see how they get on with this. It should be an in-swinger with this wind, which is getting stronger. The wind does affect games at Latimer Park, often ruins the games at Latimer Park when it gets too windy. But Kettering needs to defend this corner now stoutly. Hasn't been taken yet. Only Holman up front for the Poppies. Everybody else back in the penalty area in 6-yard box. Very congested as referee in it comes, headed out, punched out by Paul White. A good punch, and Meikle clears this, which he does. It ricochets though off the number 8 Fisk. It's back to Shah. Shah puts a low ball in, cleared by Kelly, but only towards Fisk, who plays a high ball into the area. Referee knocks Fisk out the way and was going to give a free kick, but he couldn't realise it was himself. Brown playing the ball back to Putnins, who takes the touch, delivers the ball. Roturner gets it back. It's ricochets back to Roturner, flicked on to Meikle. O'Connor's offside, so he's left the ball alone. Storer trying to win the ball back for Kettering. Holman does, and a foul there on Holman. That was a double footer. Now Holman was sent off for something like that, and there's a bit of handbags going on between the Fisk and the number 10 Smith, and now there's a big melee out there. We don't want to see this. As I say, Holman was sent off for something less than that in the last Saturday.
He was sent off for something that wasn't even a foul, but that should certainly be a card, because he definitely went in with his stud up there, definitely with his right boot. So I think the referee's going to be taking some action here.
Everybody all grouped together except the goalkeepers, but everybody else is in a 5-yard sort of circle, all having a chat. The referee and linesman are down here. The referee and linesman have had their chat. He's going into his pocket. It's going to be a yellow card. And Kettering officials not happy with that, but it is going to be a yellow card for a 2-footed tackle on Dan Holman. And that was for Adam Smith. So he goes into the referee's book. As I say, I know we're biased, but the tackle against Holman the week before was a softie compared to that one.
Oh, well, I say Dan Holman's wasn't even a foul. Fortunately, rescinded that card. We called it at the time, but it was never a foul. That one certainly was a foul, and Adam Smith can consider himself a little bit fortunate to be on the pitch still, but hopefully Kettering can capitalise now from the free kick.
So Kelly and Evans over this. It's going to be Kelly that puts the ball in towards Richards. It's headed up. Goalkeeper comes out. Challenge there. He's dropped it and got it on this second bounce there as melee players all group round Elvis Putnins. And he's now just bouncing the ball in the penalty area, taking his time. Ball delivered towards Towers. He misses it. It's flicked on though by Bamant. Storer hooks the ball over his head. It's back into play though, only towards Richards. Richards finds O'Connor. O'Connor to Meikle into the Lowestoft half. Meikle with the ball, trying to find Holman. The ball, Holman being grappled and fouled again, and the referee is on the edge of the penalty area, and he's given it the other way. Well, that's an interesting one. Looks like it could be offside. Yes, the flag is up, but Holman being fouled, grappled with, and causing a handful at the moment.
Yeah, it would have been a foul if he wasn't offside, surely, for Kettering right on the edge of the box. But
who's that in the dugout? That looks like Ben Tosland without the ponytail.
Well, it's headline news now.
That is live news, isn't it? I wasn't quite sure, but yes, it's hairless Ben Tosland as that ball comes off Declan Towers for a throw-in midway in Kettering's half on the left-hand side.
For Christmas ball. It's his Christmas cut.
Well, I think you've seen that Barwell player with a haircut very similar to his on Tuesday. He didn't think I'd want it to look like that, but there we are. It's Wilkinson for Lowestoft trying to find Bamant, but it's headed back by Kelly Evans. They've allowed that to go out for another throw. It's been taken by Wilkinson again. Going to try a long throw. It should be interesting against the wind, see how far he can get the trajectory with this one. Takes his time with this. He's coming in now. It's not a bad throw in into the penalty area, headed out by Towers. And Shah gets there, but hooked out by Storer. He finds O'Connor. Holman can't control it. Comes off Holman's thigh. Goes for a throw-in to be taken again by Wilkinson. Lively stuff here in difficult conditions. He's found Bamant, but robbed by Kelly Evans. Given away though, only to Deeks. Deek puts a high ball into Bamant, who's about 9'2", and there's a foul by the Lowestoft player. It's a free kick to be taken by Paul White, and I'm going to have to don the gloves.
Well, it's cold enough, Paul. No disgrace in having your gloves on today. I've certainly got mine on, as well as the old beanie hats.
My hat blew off.
4 layers. It's that kind of afternoon.
So a throw in to Lowestoft right in front of where we're commentating from here. Comes in towards Bamant. He loses the ball to Towers, who's won most things in the air. Storer hooks the ball in desperation, and it just goes out of play. Goalkeeper keeps it in play, their put-ins, and kicks it back into the penalty area. Sun now going down, making the visibility a lot better for us here. 0-0. Ball in play and ball out of play. One of the spectators tries to trap it, but misses it completely.
We're going to get quite a few balls heading in our direction this game, with the wind so strong in our faces.
Kelly Evans puts the ball in towards Storer. Storer's there, but he can't get there, and it's going to be Smith. He loses the ball, he feeds through to Holman. Holman outside, loses the ball, but Storer wins it back, feeds in Kelly Evans. Kelly Evans puts in a low ball, headed out by Lowestoft eventually, and cleared. It's only Bamant up front for Lowestoft. Berry does well with the ball, turns, plays the ball back to Paul White, who has to come racing out to stop this one, and it's a side wedge, comes straight towards me. Yes! I got a nice knee on that one, and
I did say we were in the firing line.
We are.
There's a prime example.
Yeah, got a nice knee on that one. I couldn't get it back over the bar here, but yeah, I got the ball. So Ed Palmer, if you're listening, eat your heart out. It is Wilkinson with this throw-in, trying to find Bamant, headed by Declan Towers. Back to Wilkinson, left-footed, put it in towards Berry. Berry heads out towards Kelly, but he's beaten to it by Tam. He heads it back in. Good work here. It's Pollock to Deeks. A high ball towards Bamant, heads it on. It's in the middle of the park and won by Kelly. Eventually, good work from Kelly there. Now, what can he do? He puts a long ball for Holman. Holman, though, heads it down to himself. In comes the onrushing Meikle. He's got O'Connor with him. Can he see him? He can't see him. Takes too many touches. Holman has to play the ball back. Does a double shuffle. Flicks it through. Great ball to Storer on the right-hand side by the corner flag. To Kelly Evans. He puts a low ball in. A poor ball in. A poor ball out, though, by Lowestoft to Richards. Richards puts the ball in the penalty area. Cleared, though, by Lowestoft. Only to Roe Turner. Can he do better? A better ball in towards Storer at the back post. Storer on the byline puts the ball in. It should be a goal here. It's cleared out, and Kettering can't get it in. It's now hacked away by Lowestoft when the goal does seem certain. And Bamant does well to fend off the two Kettering players. It's a throw-in to Lowestoft. I thought we were going to score there, Gary. It looked like it was going to be a prod-in.
Yeah, great cross from Gary Storer, and it just, I don't know how it evaded the Kettering players in the box, Connor and Holman, but unfortunately it did. But that's probably the closest we've come to a goal so far. Certainly no saves having to have been made thus far.
Wilkinson with the throw-in by the halfway line, headed out by Kelly Evans. Back to Wilkinson and Jarvis. Back to Richards. Jarvis is going to have to chase us, along with the number 6 Tam, who allows it to go out of play, and that's a throw-in to Lowestoft, midway or halfway inside their own half on the right-hand side here at Latimer Park. Kettering kicking towards the Brian Martin Pallets end. That's number 5, please, Brian. And slowly Wilkinson goes to collect this ball, not in any hurry whatsoever. Eventually gets the ball and gets back to the place. Still hasn't taken it. Has now. It's in play, but it's won by Towers, who's trying to find Holman, but it's headed to Wilkinson. Only to Meikle though. Meikle to Kelly. Kelly flicks on to O'Connor. O'Connor, he finds Jarvis. Jarvis has to play the ball back via his chest to Putnins, who gleefully accepts that by the penalty spot. And ball in play. There's Richards underneath this and Fisk, but Richards wins it. It's a missed kick there, and the number 11 Brown has to leave the ball for Putnins to come out. He slices the ball out for another throw-in. Wind having all sorts of issues here with these goal kicks. The ball spending more time out than in. Towers. Long ball for Towers towards O'Connor. O'Connor doesn't get there. It's headed on to Wilkinson. Wilkinson gets the ball to the number 4 Deeks, but robbed by Meikle. And Meikle taken out there by Pollock. And that should be a free kick halfway in the Lowestoft half. It wasn't a nasty foul. Got straight up, got on with it. It's going to be Kelly to take this free kick. It's going to be who can deal with the conditions better than the other team, I think, is going to win this game at the moment.
Yeah, well,
Kelly
so far it's been Poppies who have putting the pressure what there has been from dead ball situations such as this. We can hopefully rely on Marcus to get a good ball in and create some more havoc.
Kelly whips one in, it's a curler towards Declan Towers. He heads it the wrong way though, and Kelly Evans will do well to keep this in. He can't, and it goes out for a throw-in. It came off the side of Towers' head, and I think we turned that one as Toblerone had, and it veered off at an angle and is a throw-in to Lowestoft. Towers, of course, did score a very good goal at Alfchurch, a header. Let's hope he can do it a bit later on today. It's Towers, though, who does win the header towards Storer. Storer, little flick from Storer, does well, is brought down, nothing given. And it's a foul now, and Lowestoft getting a bit raggy now. It's Wilkinson who committed the foul. The referee has been spoken to by Marcus Kelly, and the Lowestoft players joining in. Pollock having a word with the referee as well. It's a free kick on the right-hand side. Kelly places the ball in front of him in his blue boots, matching the colour of the Lowestoft kit. It's going to hopefully be an in-swinger with the wind. Be an interesting one here. Arm raised, Kelly takes this. It comes in well, flicked on by Storer, but then it's only comes out towards Meikle. Meikle plays the ball back to Kelly. Kelly puts it in again towards O'Connor. O'Connor's knocked down, claims for a penalty, nothing given, and the ball with the goalkeeper. Played out on the far side to Shah. Shah got a lot of space to run with the ball. Still with the ball. Gives it to Fisk. Fisk trying to find Bamant. Only finds Berry. Berry finds Turner. Turner gets the ball to Meikle. Got 2 round him. Kelly's trying to find O'Connor. O'Connor will get this. He has done. Well done by O'Connor. Comes inside. Overlapping the one way is Kelly Evans towards Storer now in the penalty area. Storer turns, shoots, and that goes agonisingly wide there. Must be only 6 inches wide of the far post, but goes away. Good effort there from Gary Storer.
Good effort from the team there, passing the ball well in these difficult conditions, and Meikle it was getting the Poppies on the move, and Aaron O'Connor holding the ball up well. The ball comes to Gary Storer, who was just behind that shot, and as soon as he left his boot, we could tell it was unfortunately going wide, but only just wide, as you say, and we're getting a little bit closer.
Yeah, I think that's what Kettering got to do, keep it on the floor and play the passing football. It was a good move, should have been a goal, but that's the closest we've come from either end as Putnins takes this goal kick, keeps it in play this time, goes towards Bamant, who heads it on, but only to Berry, who takes a heavy touch, and I'm going to get the ball again! Yes! I've headed it, this time trapped the ball. It's amazing being up here, Ed Palmer, if you're listening. The ball spending more time on the gantry than... So Wilkinson with this throw-in. I tried to trap it to get it back to Richard Lavery, but it didn't quite work. Throw-in been taken. Fisk underneath it, but Meikle wins the ball well. The chase on here now for O'Connor, who does win the race. He's got Holman in front of him. Can he spot him? He can. Holman can't get there. In comes Meikle to Kelly. Kelly to Holman. Holman sets up Kelly. It comes off a ricochet. Can the goalkeeper get there? He can. And rather unfortunate for the Kettering lineup there as the ball's hoofed out of play. As one of the Lowestoft players is down in the Kettering half. I think it's Andrew Fisk. He's down on one knee. But yeah, it just didn't run right there for Kettering, did it?
No, we were trying to get the ball on Marcus Kelly's left foot early for a shot, and when we didn't, when the ball eventually came to him on his left foot, it was too late, and the defender closed it down. So not to be that time, and news is filtered through that Stowridge have taken the lead at Leaston this afternoon, 1-0.
Boo! Boo!
Boo indeed. So if you like your as it stands table, then at the moment Poppies are no longer top of the league.
Well, that's what we don't want to hear, but nothing we can do about that one just yet. Nothing going on here as Fisk is coming off holding his head. Players getting some fluids. Of course, next Saturday, should I say, we're away at Banbury United, the Puritans. We've already played them once this season in the CSS first round Challenge Cup. It was a 3-2 win, a much change Kettering side on that night. Came back from 1-0 down, 2-1 down to win 3-2. No goals here though at Latter Park, and a substitution is going to be made. It's going to be Fisk coming off to be replaced by Ben Folkes. So that's the first change, an enforced change there for Lowestoft. And that has just happened. 16 Folkes comes on as the wind picks up once again. The ball is with the linesman down here. It should be a ball back to the goalkeeper. Connor trots over to take it. So O'Connor with the throw-in. He'll give it back to goalkeeper Putnams, which he does. A round of applause from the Lowestoft players for that. Customary now in football. Putnams with the kick. And that goes straight out. Ball back in play with Kelly Evans, flicks the ball through towards O'Connor. O'Connor turns, does well there. O'Connor fends off Pollock. Still O'Connor puts the wide ball out for Roe Turner on the far side. Turner with a bit of room to move in the ball, puts the ball through towards Story, who's advanced towards the corner flag. He comes inside the penalty area. No, he doesn't. He goes outside, turns, flicks the ball through to Roe Turner. Roe Turner comes through, keeps the ball in, flicked down. Goalkeeper parries it away, and nobody following up to tap it in. It was a good effort from Putnams to get the ball away, and Kettering could not get another tap in.
Just got his outstretched arm on it, the goalkeeper there, Elvis, and just pushed the ball away. But that was a good move again from Kettering. Good interplay. Roe Turner doing well to get to the byline, get the cross in. And that was another nearly moment. We've had a few now in this half for Kettering nearly moments.
Well, there's another nearly moment now as Storer has been a infringement. And Lowestoft get the ball. Can't quite see what that was for, but Storer did stop from arranging a shot. Let's have a look and see what the referee is doing with this. It's going to be a throw-in on the far side, in fact, so it must have gone out of play. Still 0-0 here, and Stowbridge have taken the lead, as we said, at Leaston. Just what we don't want to hear. Ball played back to Paul White. White takes one touch. Trying to find Meikle. He does. Meikle flicks on towards Holman. Holman wins the ball. Does well under pressure. Still Holman with it. Turns. Gets the ball to Berry. Berry to Roe Turner on the halfway line. Flicks the ball through. It gives the ball away to Tan. Tan gets it to Bamant. He loses it to Berry. The ball hooked through. Kettering can't get the hands on it, if that makes sense. But they'll be offside. And also be handball. Holman does very well on the far side, trying to get the ball through to Connor. It comes off the number 6, and it's going to be a corner on the left-hand side. A different trajectory this time for Marcus Kelly. And let's see what Kettering can do with this as the Kettering subs begin the warm-up process.
Yep, this will be an outswinger, and hopefully he'll adjust for the wind so he doesn't overhit it.
Kelly puts one in here. Turner misses it. Holman misses it. And Storer can't get there, and it's just hacked away. And another Lowestoft player is prostrate on the floor.
Head injury, I think, again.
Yeah, and the physio or sports therapist has to come on, so play stops once again. He's got up off the floor. It's the number 3 Wilkinson, and rubbing his face. Will be a throw in to Kettering this time.
Oh, he's got a nosebleed. We just had a look on the camera, so he did get a little bit of a blow in the face, I think, there.
Ah, so he'll have to come off then with a blood injury.
Yep.
And so they are down to 10 men as he strolls off.
Should the referee send him to the nearest touchline with the far touchline, like he did with Declan Towers?
Well, that is the thing, isn't it? To send them to the opposite side of and the referee wants the ball back. Now, there should be a throw in to Kettering. Bit of controversy here as Kettering are about to take a throw in while Wilkinson goes back. The referee wants the ball. Kelly Evans is arguing with him, but the ref wants it, can't understand it, and referee wants. Well, I'm not sure what he's going to do. Why should we going to have a bounce up between the two, or
I'm not sure why, unless he thinks he blew up before the ball went out of play. But I thought the ball was out of play before he blew up. So
he did.
Very strange.
Well, the number 7 has kicked the ball back to Paul White in strange circumstances as the nosebleed is being washed with cold water. That'll cheer him up. But O'Connor can't win that header. Ball kept in play. No, it's not. It's a Kettering Town throw in. This time Kelly Evans can take it legitimately. He does. He finds Storer. Storer, square ball to Meikle. Meikle trying to put Storer through, but he needed to be Arkle to have caught that one.
Yeah, well overhit that one. Very frustrated there, Lyndon Meikle, with that effort. He's better than that. But yeah, several nearly moments for Kettering in this half, but we've not asked Elvis to perform, really, have we, so far in the half?
Well, that's a relief. But it is putting ins with this goal kick. And it goes towards Bamant, heads it well, but Richards does exceptionally well, gets the ball in, and Richards is then fouled after the ball. Referee has seen it. Not a howl there from Richards as he was clipped, and there should be a free kick to the Poppers, taken by Declan Towers quickly to Berry. He's just at the centre circle, puts a long ball for Holman to try and get his head onto, but Tan beats him to it. He can head the ball though to Kelly. He can't win it. Holman can. Tries a snapshot, and it just goes wide there of Putnin's goal. Still down to 10 men, Lowestoft. They're working frantically to get the blood off the player.
He's got copious amounts of cotton wool stuck up his nostrils at the moment.
Very nice.
And fresh shirt, of course. He's also got some blood on his shirt, so. He'll be looking to come back on now, I think.
32 minutes gone here at Latimer Park, and it's still 0-0. And Lowestoft back to 11 with the cotton wool clad number 18 there. He's got the 18 shirt on now, hasn't he? But it was Wilkinson, the number 3. So he's wearing 18. Puts the ball back into play. Richards wins it back, flicks on towards Meikle. Meikle loses the ball. Richards doesn't. Flicks it on. Headed down to Wilkinson. He only gives the ball away to Roe Turner. He tries to find O'Connor, but it's cut out by Tan. It's in the air again. Kelly's underneath this. He's being chased by Shah. He gets the ball before Shah. Takes a turn. Plays it back to Berry. Berry in Kettering's half. Takes a touch, takes another touch, puts it back to Roe Turner, loses the ball, handball, and that should be a free kick to Kettering. And it's now been taken in the correct place, about 10 yards from where Barry was going to place the ball. So it's going to be Kelly with this. Let's hope the wind has died down enough for a decent delivery into the penalty area. Temperature dropping as we speak. Kelly puts one in then towards Holman. He doesn't win it. It's headed high, but Storer's underneath it. Storer can only head the ball onto the Lowestoft player. It's a Kettering throw-in. Kelly Evans with it. Not going to use Storer. Thought about it. not much on. Does use Storer. Back with Kelly Evans. Plays it to Richards. Richards takes a touch. Trying to feed through O'Connor, but he won't catch that. He has caught it. Well done by O'Connor on the byline. Flicks the ball through towards Storer. Storer puts the ball in, and it has gone out for a corner. Now, I thought that was a goal kick.
I think before Storer hit the cross, I think the ball had already gone out off the Lowestoft player.
Yeah,
so,
I could see the ball over the line, but there we are. Something's gone in Kettering's favour for the first time in years. Corner comes in, whipped in, but easily headed out and cleared by Lowestoft. Only to Kelly Evans, who can't get a connection, and it is a throw-in to Lowestoft. So nothing from that. The number 18, Ala Wilkinson, who's number 3, has got the ball. His cotton wool has now left his nostrils. Towers wins the header, but only towards Pollock. Deeks wins that, only towards Towers. Kelly underneath this, can't win it. It's won by Shah. Shah now with some space for the Trawler boys. He's on his own though, robbed easily by Meikle, and he plays the ball to Kelly on the far side. Kelly with a bit of space to run the ball for O'Connor to chase, but it should be Tan who puts this ball out. Doesn't. Finds Meikle. Meikle gives the ball straight away to Pollock though, and Lowestoft have possession. They've been pressured by Storer. Doing very well, Storer. Ball out of play, did very well, Storer, and Pollock concedes the throw-in. Quickly taken to Roe Turner. Turner clicks the ball towards Storer, who's impeded, and the number 7, Pollock, gets the ball away, just aims it down the Kettering line, and Towers allows the ball to go out. Thought about giving it to Paul White, does, and Paul White comes out to the edge of his penalty area, get the ball back into play. Trying to find O'Connor. O'Connor can't win that. Meikle can't win it either. There's some pushing, and away comes Smith. He finds Deeks. Deeks, little chip through there for Bamant, but Berry wins it. And a bit scrappy at the moment. The ball back with Jarvis. Jarvis towards Tam on the far side, halfway in Kettering's half. Does well. He finds Shah. He gives the ball away though. Richard should win this. He does. Trying to find O'Connor. O'Connor brought down by Jarvis. Nothing given. Jarvis flicks the ball through. Paul White brought into action. Trots out and collects the ball wide in his penalty area. Well, the wind not helping the game, and Kettering having the better of the chances, as Fisk does well. Given away though to Roe Turner, who in turn loses it to Shah, and then it's Brown who finds Roe Turner, who skips by 2 defenders to O'Connor. O'Connor handles the ball though, unfortunately can't get it away from his hand. The referee saw it, and it's going to be a free kick. Unlucky there.
Yep. The game has definitely got scrappy the last 10 minutes. I think that's fair to say. Which will suit Lowestoft, that's for sure.
Yeah, Lowestoft come into this, drawn the last 2 games and beat Royston 2-0. That was their first victory in 12 games. So they've hit a bit of form in the last 3 games. Kettering, their last 3 games, well, the last 2 we won't talk about too much, but need to get back to winning ways, especially with Stourbridge winning this. Storer trying to come away with it, but he's beaten to it by Smith. Towers wins the ball but gives it to Pollock. Pollock, he finds Smith on the left hand side. He finds Wilkinson. Wilkinson puts a low ball in, headed out by Berry towards Kelly. Kelly flicks the ball on to Meikle. Meikle, lovely work there from Meikle, who was challenged and by Pollock and put the ball out, unfortunately, for a throw-in. Looked like there was going to be a foul, but there wasn't. So it's a throw-in on the far side. Referee telling the Lowestoft to go back. Ball back in place. Roe Turner leaves it for Berry. Berry hooks the ball, but only towards Adam Smith, who puts a signed wider in. He finds Deeks. Deeks loses the ball to Richards, who plays one up and under. and that will roll out of play for a goal kick, despite Dan Holman's valiant efforts of chasing it down.
Yeah, Kettering trying the long ball a little bit too easy. I know with the conditions it's not easy, but I think our best chance of winning the game today is to do what they have done intermittently in the half, and that's try and get the ball to feet. That's where we look the most dangerous. Certainly not pumping long balls forward with Dan Holman and Aaron O'Connor against a couple of giants at the back. So yeah, 5 minutes or so to go before half time. So let's hope that Kettering could finish strongly. As Mr. Cook heads down for a little bit of warmth downstairs in the studio to get ready for half time. Dan Holman seeking Aaron O'Connor with a food ball, and Aaron O'Connor's in here, and Kettering have scored! Something out of nothing. Something out of nothing there. A mix-up in defence there between the centre half of Lowestoft and the goalkeeper, and Dan Holman just poking the ball past Elvis in goal, and Aaron O'Connor runs around the back and slots it into an empty net. And Kettering take the lead just before half time. Something out of nothing. And we've spoken already about Kettering and keeping the ball on the floor, and there was an example of what can happen if you do that. At Lowestoft, who have defended pretty resolutely for the half, they're going to be very disappointed at conceding a soft goal like that, but Kettering won't mind that at all. And the game is back underway, and it's with Meikle striding forward into the Lowestoft half towards Aaron O'Connor, tries to flick it onto Dan Holman. Holman tries an opportunist shot on the half volley, just wide. But again, Kettering there playing with a little bit of confidence. 2 yards wide on the shot, but that's a great goal to score from Kettering's point of view before the break. And Elvis Putnin's waited to take the goal kick and clears right-footed, and the ball out of play on our side. In fact, the wind factor taking effect again there, gusting it over to this near touchline, where Dion Kelly-Evans will be taking the throw for Kettering, taking his time, as you can probably understand. Still waiting to throw, and now does throw it into Dan Holman with the flick on, but away by Smith. Declan Towers heads the ball back. Paul White comes out and completes the clearance, and that bounds all the way out to the far side in front of the Burton Park Wanderers stand. And Kettering will just be looking to see out the last minute or two from the half safely. And the ball is bounding around in the centre circle, now breaks out to the left back for Lowestoft, who clears the ball towards Pollock. Pollock trying to get Bammont free down the middle, but the ball just skips through to Paul White. Gathers just inside his penalty area, and he's now going to take his time before clearing right-footed into the sky, and heading cleared forward towards Bammont from the Lowestoft centre half. He looked offside, but didn't get the flag. Declan Towers, though, shepherds the ball out for a Kettering throw. Asks the question of the linesman on the far side as to why he didn't get the decision for offside, but it's going to be another throw in for Kettering. Kelly-Evans to throw down the touchline, headed forward by Smith and then back by Richards. Ball out of play. Wilkinson to take the throw in for Lowestoft. Pitched forward, Bammont with the flick on, but that will be too strong. We'll go through to a goal kick for Kettering Town as the sun slips below the clouds on the horizon, so we won't get any more interference from the sun today. The wind increases its strength. The sky turns a little bit milky in colour. And the ball cleared forward by Paul White. Bit of head tennis in the middle, breaks to Smith on this side. Puts the ball down the far touchline, but Towers gets there first and hooks it clear for Kettering. Breaks in midfield. Towers again clears forward, but ungainly. And it's Kelly that actually picks the ball up for Kettering, runs into the Lowestoft half, sets off Aaron Connor on the far side. Connor looking to cross, but puts the ball through to Roe Turner, does well, inside to Kelly. Oh, skips inside, but can't get his shot away, and the ball is hacked clear from Lowestoft, and the ball, this time he is caught offside. Salmon up top for Lowestoft, so Kettering will have a free kick, but almost breaking through again then. Good move by Kettering on the far side. Roe Turner, he's got into the box and puts a couple of decent crosses in for Kettering this half. Unfortunately, Marcus Kelly, great first touch, just couldn't get it under control for the second to get a shot away. Paul White pops the free kick forward. Kelly lofts it into the penalty area. Holman on the ball, and the ball is put out for a Kettering corner on the far side. Haven't seen the board up yet for extra time, but I'm sure we've got time for the corner to be taken. It's going to be Marcus Kelly to put in an outswing on his left foot. And here it comes now. Good cross into the area, headed. Connor, oh! Corner just off the line. It was a good header. I think it was Declan Towers with the header, and the ball was landed at the feet of Aaron O'Connor with his back to goal. He swivelled, and the shot from a couple of yards out loops off a defender on the line and goes out for another corner. So Marcus Kelly, same again please Marcus. And forward, and here we go. Ball in again. It's Towers again that got his head to it, but I thought he thought the number 9 was going to get the ball before him, and it sort of bounces off Declan Towers' head. Goes out for a goal kick. Just playing the extra minute now of extra time for the half. And Kettering will be reasonably pleased with their performance this half. They have been the better team in terms of playing football and creating chances, and they'll be happy to go in with a clean sheet as well, that's for sure. Ball cleared forward then from the giant Putkins, and the ball breaks to Meikle, passes the ball forward, but Wilkinson clears for Lowestoft. Roe Turner with the header to Marcus Kelly on the far side. Kelly checks back, goes back to Darrell Berry, who plays the ball forward with his left foot. This ball stays in because of the wind on the far side. Goes up in the air in the midfield area, breaks to Samet, back to, no, it goes back to Richards actually, who's battling in the centre forward, and then there's a foul there on Gary Storer by Connor Deeks. That causes a bit of distress to Gary Storer, but I think it was just a foul for me. And that is all that Kettering are going to get from the situation, just inside the Kettering half in the centre circle. Gary Storer back on his feet, gingerly moving forward. Towers hits the ball long, good ball long to Kelly Evans, but his first touch wasn't that good and allows Wilkinson to clear, but only to Towers, who pumps the ball back forward. But that will run out, I think, all the way to a goal kick. Yes, it will, despite the best attentions of Dan Holman. The ball goes over the byline, and it wouldn't surprise me if the referee doesn't blow this time as soon as the ball's in the air, as they tend to like to do. Watkins does indeed clear, and the referee does indeed blow his whistle. So half time here at Latimer Park is Kettering Town 1, Lowestoft 0. And I'll head down now to Paul Cook in the warm studio, and I'll go and try and warm myself up in the meantime.
Third league goal of the season. The difference between the two teams in very difficult weather conditions. The wind playing havoc with the ball, but Kettering really should probably be more than one ahead. They've had all the chances. Lowestoft really haven't put Paul White under any problems whatsoever. Hopefully I'm going to get somebody in here with me. It might be the forgotten man, or it might be a commentator. I'm not quite sure. Give their views on that first half performance. But certainly with Stourbridge, I believe, we're winning 1-0 away at Leaston. Kettering need to win this game to keep on top of the pile. And that is just what the doctor ordered. It has been a difficult encounter for the Poppies, to be honest. It hasn't been easy out there in the conditions. As we say, the wind does ruin the games at Latimer Park. But so far, everything going Kettering's way. And they'll be playing with the wind in the second half. So we shall see. There have been a few chances to talk about, but the one that was talked about was Aaron O'Connor's goal, where you can see that on our highlights package. It won't be shown tonight, but it will be shown a little later in the week with the rest of the interviews, etc. So we'll be bringing you all those details and interviews a little later. Hopefully we've got Marcus Law coming in as well after the game, and one of the players, but I can bring in at the moment, it's going to be the cameraman, who's also like me freezing his bits off because it's been extremely cold out there. Matt Spearman, welcome to the warmth of the studio.
Yeah, they've been warm. They've been warm in here. I did see you. You disappeared just at the wrong time, I feel.
Yes, I feel whenever I get on that ladder, there's always a goal going to happen one way or the other. This time it was in Kettering's favour. And I think on the balance of play, I think Kettering deserved that 1-0 advantage.
Yeah, so I think they've from watching that first half, they seem to be they've had more about their attack than Lowestoft. I think Kettering certainly looked a little more organised. Probably a little more confident than what we saw over the past few games. There's a bit of edginess there with Kettering. They seem to be, they're not pushing everyone forward like we have seen in the past. They are passing the ball around well, and there's a bit of quality out there. The conditions are horrendous. We've seen goal kicks from both goalkeepers flying off. So
well, I spent more time fending the ball.
Well, I was going to say you had more touches than some of the Lowestoft players. I think so. It is really difficult conditions out there, and I think the idea is to keep that ball as low to the ground as possible. And I think Kettering have probably been more successful in that than Lowestoft. Obviously there is a threat there from Lowestoft. They've got some quick players there, and
tall side, aren't they? They've got this Sean Bamant, who seems quite a large player, and there's quite a few of them in that side that tower above the Kettering players. The ball does seem to be going towards Bamant from Pollock and Jarvis quite a bit. They've got that one-dimensional play, haven't they?
The thing is, Kettering now have to go out there second half, continue to look for a second goal, but at the same time as well, they've got to make sure they tighten up at the back as well. I mean, Paul White's not really been threatened too much at all this game, but as soon as we swap ends, he may be under pressure second half. So it's gonna be a tough game for Kettering. It's not going to be a pretty game today, but if they carry on like they are at the moment, then they will hopefully get them much needed 3 points and a good boost of confidence as well.
I take an ugly 5-0 win. Ugly 5-0 win if it comes to it, or ugly 1-0 win if it comes to it, to get back into the winning format. As I say, we're away at Banbury United next Saturday. Then we've got Hitchin Town down here just before Christmas on the 22nd. Not wearing the jumper, so you're going to wear the jumper.
Oh, sorry, it's too cold.
Yeah, but too cold.
It's under many layers.
Is it? Oh dear. We don't want to see that. And then Wednesday we've got, I think it's Bedworth United. It's now a 1 PM kickoff, not a 3 PM. Please put that in your diaries. Wednesday the 26th of December, Bedworth United, now a 1 PM kickoff. And the final game in December is at Kings Lynn Town, away at the Walks, on the 29th of December. That should be a cracker of a game as well. But try and bring you some half-time scores a little later. There's some interesting games cropping up, and we've got Alvechurch against the FC Rushden Diamonds, Colville, Kings Lynn Town, Leiston, Stourbridge, Needham Market are playing Banbury, Royston are playing Biggleswade, and Rushall Olympic are playing Hitchin. So when I get any of those scores coming through, I've got one coming through here now. Alvechurch 0 is what I've got.
That's 0-0.
And AFC Rushden Diamonds 0 as well. So that's half time there. Well, we have got a guest that's come in. Is it the Forgotten Man? But no, it's not. It's someone who's working their way back for fitness. Matt, you'd like to leave us and
Indeed,
keep warm? We're going to bring back and welcome back to the studio for the first time this season. It's James Brighton. James,
Cookie,
how are you? Right? Yeah, long time no
bad,
see.
I know, yeah, it's been a while.
Well, let's get the injury out the way first of all. How is it progressing? I've seen you out there a few times.
Yeah, I've been doing a bit in the before the game, in the warm up and stuff, and getting just some straight line running in and kicking the ball with Aaron Badge, and it feels good. I mean, don't get me wrong, it has been a long while now.
A year, isn't it?
I didn't have the operation till the end of May, but yeah, it's been about over a year since I've played football now, because there was a bit of not knowing what the injury was, but in the end I ruptured my posterior cruciate ligament, and then I had the operation in May. So they said it's a 6 to 9 month process, and I've got to see the physio again in the week, but hopefully it shouldn't be too long before I'm back out there.
I was going to say, have you got a target date at all set?
Well, I'm hoping near Christmas, maybe the new year, I'll be been in and around the squad. Obviously, I'll need to get my minutes in. I'll speak to the gaffer about that and see what he wants to do. But yeah, I can't wait to get back out there now. So
you say you've been around the squad quite a bit. It's a different squad to the one that you left, let's say, a season or so ago when you got injured. How have you analysed things from afar?
Well, it's obviously we're sitting pretty at the top, so no complaints there. I mean, we've had a bit of a rough patch the last couple of games, but hopefully we'll get a win today and sit back on top of the league.
You can see there the results that we're looking at here. Colville 2, Kings Lynn Town 1, Halesowen 0, Tamworth 0, Leiston 0, Stourbridge 1, Needham 2, Banbury 2, Royston 3, Biggleswade 2. That's a bit of a throw of 5 there. Rushall are losing 2-0. So and St Ives, who beat us last week, are losing at home to Bedworth, who sit bottom of the league. How have you sort of looked at it, as I say, from afar with the new players like Dan Holman coming in, etc., and the fantastic start that Kettering made to the season?
Oh yeah, I spoke to Alan before the game, and he says the squad from now compared to when I first came 4 years, even last year, because the squad's just improving daily. There's better players, there's more competition for places, so it's only healthy for the gaffer to be choosing what players he wants to play. So
because you swept all the awards, didn't you, one season?
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
it's going to be an interesting one to see and get back in the side, really.
I know. Yeah, that's the plan. I mean, obviously, because we're top of the league, I don't expect at all to come in and be playing straight away. So I've got to keep working hard and hopefully work my way into the team. But
because we all know what you can do with those free kicks, etc.
Yeah.
And we have missed those, although we have had a couple of stormers from Millsy, and which we've seen, and again, Meikle can put in a few shots as well.
Yeah, no,
so
it's good. Like I say, good to have that competition, and even Marcus Kelly, he can hit a nice free kick. So, did
you see the game last week against St Ives?
Yeah, I did.
What, as a player, looking at it, I've not really spoken to any of the players too much about last week, other than Luke Graham. But what's your sort of view on it? Why did that happen so dramatically?
I don't know, to be honest. I think because the way they set up, maybe. I mean, the ref. You could speak about the ref, but you weren't giving decisions our way. But at the end of the day, I thought they were set up well, and I think they come here and decided to counter attack, and maybe we didn't adjust to that. And I would say 1 followed by 2, and then the third was a great free kick. You can't complain about that.
But should there have been a foul prior to that on Luke Graham? I mean, it was missed by the referee before he got to
what did Luke say about that? Did he?
No comment.
No comment. Oh, there you go. But no, but yeah, hopefully that's put to bed now, and like I say, we win today, and then carry on. I don't think we've got a game midweek, have we?
No game midweek. Next game is away at Banbury United, which they are. Banbury are drawing 2-2 away at Needham, who have got into the. I think they're in 3rd or 4th place now in the league. They've got themselves back into it. Quite a few sides have. So, Kettering need to win this afternoon. But Yeah, it's good to see you around anyway, because
Yeah.
at one point I thought you'd disappeared completely.
No, I'm
but
still
you're
around,
still
yeah.
around, and we used to get you confused with Gary Storer at one
Oh,
point
no,
with
yeah.
the Storer
I
twins.
know Alan's been going on about that, calling my brother and everything. So
Now, just one thing that we have noticed on the bench, we did mention it in commentary. I don't know, well, you must have seen it. The shaved appearance of Messer Toteland.
oh yeah,
what's
he's got a bit of stick from that in the change rooms before the game. But no, I don't know. I think it looks a bit better than his long.
Is it because the
mop.
guy at Barwell had a similar sort of barnet as him
I don't know.
on Tuesday, and he thought, I can't look like that, surely. So he's had it
Finally
locked
looked
off.
in the mirror? But no, I think it looks better. But I don't know.
Well, good to see you here with us, and
Yeah.
let's hope that you can get back to fitness, put in some of those performances that you put in the past, and fight your way back into the team.
Yeah,
It'd like
hopefully.
having a new player, wouldn't it? Really?
Yeah, well, exactly. That's the plan anyway. I mean, hopefully give the gaffer a bit of headache problems when I am finally.
Well, that's
back,
always
but-
good, isn't it? Giving the headache to gaffers,
Yeah.
etc. But there we have it. But there we are.
No.
Okay then, James. Nice to
Cheers.
see you. Get
Thank
back
you
into the
very
cold.
much.
We'll stay
Yeah.
in here in the warm. We'll welcome back Matt Spearman just before we go out in that second half. It's you have just joined us. Where have you been? And secondly, it's Kettering Town 1, Lowestoft Town 0. That all-important goal scored by Aaron O'Connor on around 38 minutes. Well, you've heard James there. He's still keeping his pecker up, as they say.
Definitely,
isn't he?
yeah.
And it must be
Thanks.
difficult being out for a year and not kicking a ball in anger. Certainly when you were a player of his calibre in the past.
Well, that's it. You look back to the form he was in, fabulous form, and he was doing so well. Unfortunately, he had that injury, and it's going to be hard for him to get back into that starting 11. But to have that competition on the bench as well, you know, it's going to make everyone hopefully tighten up their game as well. So yeah, all positives, and let's hope 2019 will be 19 will be a better season or a better year for him in football terms.
It's probably much worse for football terms for him, can it, than being out
Not at all, no.
for a year.
No, it
and,
must be so frustrating as well. It must be so strange to see the team evolve as well. You know, as you say, so many players have moved on since, or who he was playing with in the squad a couple of seasons ago.
Indeed. So we'll keep you all aware of how he progresses with his injury in the future. But I do believe the teams are on the way out for this second half. As I say, it's Kettering leading this by 1-0. Aaron O'Connor, the goal scorer. We're going to let Matt get back on that
Thank you
camera.
very much,
I will
yeah.
then clamber up the old gantry and await my colleague. So there will be a few moments of dreaded silence, so you may be able to hear the tannoy and some of the noise from the ground, but I'll be with you in a few moments. But from me at the moment, it is half time here at Kettering Town. It's 1-0 to the Poppies. Let's hope we can increase that lead in the second half. I'll be with you upstairs in commentary in a few moments.
Well, welcome back to the second half. I've just made my way from the nice warm studio and back into the Antarctic that is known as the gantry here at Latin Park. And John Dunham's still with us. I did think that he was going to go downstairs with the old boys in the sticking it out, he says, as the teams are back on the park. No changes at the moment. Kettering will be kicking from right to left with the wind, so we might see a different style of play. Rhys Honus there just doing a double shuffle in the dugout. Dan Holman over the ball, and and Kettering fans have moved to the tin hat end. We haven't got an attendance for you yet, but we'll bring you that as soon as we can. So Dan Holman over, and Gary Foreman has just returned to the warmth of the gantry. My jest, of course. And referee now just checking with both officials and goalkeepers. Everyone's ready. And Holman is over the ball. And we're away. Holman plays the ball back to Richards. It's a long ball towards Kelly Evans, but the number 4 slips on his back. Deeks and Kettering get away with it. A snap shot there from O'Connor trying to catch out Putnins, but it just went over.
Just went over by about 10 yards, yeah.
So the first blood to Kettering, if you want to say that way. Marcus Law makes his way around the ground. Blocks Mike Capps from taking a photograph, which is quite amusing. So Putnins with the goal kick. Richards underneath it, but can only direct it out of play for a throw on the left-hand side. He's got to adapt to the conditions here of the wind. Changes for all the players, of course. They've swapped ends and different problems and challenges now. Kettering still leading this 1-0. It's now a Kettering Town ball from the throw-in. Roe Turner, just by the halfway line, takes a few yards. Plays it back towards Berry. Square ball, Berry to Declan Towers in the centre of the park. Towers looks up, puts a long ball towards O'Connor, but it's beaten to it. Away comes Pollock. He's going to release Shah, but this is Bamont. Does well, he's fended off 2 Kettering players, intercepted by Storer. He finds Holman now. Holman's on his own, but he's been muscled off it by Smith. Gets the ball to Shah, back to Smith. This is Pollock, and Pollock goes down, and it's a Kettering Town throw-in. Should have done better with that, the trawler boy, but he didn't. Throw-in by Roe Turner. Gets the ball back from Richards, who in turn puts the ball back to Berry. Very long ball here, but cut out by the trawler boy defence. It's back with Berry, and Berry plays it calmly to Paul White, who gets his first touch of this second half.
Did you see the goal at half-time, Paul?
No, we haven't seen the goals yet. We'll wait until we have the highlights package, as we're having a different system this afternoon than normal.
Okay. It's a shame you missed it. You popped downstairs.
Well, no, I was on the ladder when it went in, so I did see it going.
You're on the ladder, yeah.
I was on the ladder and just saw him beat the goalkeeper to it. As Putnins lets the ball go out of play for a goal kick.
At least you didn't fall off the ladder when the cheer went up.
Well, no, normally when I get on that ladder, as I said downstairs in the studio, when I get on that ladder towards half-time or the end, there's always something dramatic happens one way or the other. Luckily, it was in Kettering's favour this time, and it was a good finish from O'Connor, right in front of the Kettering fans, who were delighted with that goal, as we all were. Putnins gets the ball back into play. Kelly Evans heads it back. Headed on by Holman is towards O'Connor and then number 5. They've both missed it, and well, the goalkeeper collided with his own number 5, Jarvis, and the referee's given a foul. Unbelievable!
Oh my word! I don't know what the referee saw then, but it was a clear case of the number 5 taking out their goalkeeper. You know, similar to the goal for Kettering, a complete miscommunication in the Lowestoft defence, and well, that's bewildering, I have to say.
Well, at least to the referee's embarrassment, we have got that on film, so we'll see that again sometime. But ball back into play is the Paul White has to come out, and he does. Ben Folkes, the substitute, appealing for a foul, but nothing given. But a remarkable decision there by the officials. We do see some clangers in this division, don't we?
Yeah, unless he thought that O'Connor had pushed the defender into the goalkeeper, but from where I was stood and looking, that wasn't the case.
Well, Holman's on the far side. He's given the ball. He flicks one in towards Kelly. Cheswick can't get there and is cleared by Lowestoft under pressure from Meikle. But Lowestoft get the ball back with Pollock. Trying to find Bamont, but that only goes to Roe Turner. Richards underneath it, heads it on. Bammond now does get the ball. He's got Berry in front of him, puts the ball through. Paul White will come to the edge of his area to collect this. He does. He kicks it up into his hand, takes a couple of strides, trots over to the centre of the penalty area, and puts it on the ground, rolls it in front of him as Bammond tries to close him down. Long ball from White towards O'Connor, who's beaten to it by Brown. He finds Deeks. Deeks gives the ball away though to Kelly Evans. He finds Storer, who's gone over the halfway line on the far side. Overlapping now is Kelly Evans towards Kelly. To Kelly Evans, puts one in here. There's Holman, a diving header. Then that was a good effort and spoons over Putnam's bar there. But a good move from Kettering.
Yeah, great move for Kettering. Good cross from D on Kelly Evans on that far side. Dan Holman just stealing half a yard on the Lowestoft defence and got his head on the ball, but he couldn't control the header, unfortunately, for Kettering. Otherwise, that would have certainly been 2-0.
But a good move for the Poppies. Indication they're going to try and score more goals with the conditions as Putnams gets the ball back in, headed on though by Declan Towers towards Holman, who's beaten to it, but it finds Storer from the Lowestoft defender. Storer does well, takes out one player, puts it towards Richards, who's then knocked over by Bammond right in front of the referee. Quick free kick taken. Towers to Kelly Evans on the far side, low ball to Kelly Evans, little flick there by Towers and Holman, not Holman now, there's a player down at Kettering. It looks like O'Connor, and he stayed down. He's crunched there on his on all fours at the moment. Hopefully this is just precautionary. He's just getting to the goalkeeper, sportingly puts the ball out of play, but O'Connor gets up and it's his leg. Hopefully not the same injury that he had pre-season. But he's rubbing his calf muscles. Salkin thinks he might get on, but he's not. He's limping away over the far side, O'Connor. And it's going to be O'Connor that takes the throw-in back to the goalkeeper, who sportingly put it out. As the wind once again gets up. And he threw it out of play there, O'Connor.
Yeah, a bit petty there from Aaron. Not to throw the ball directly back to the goalkeeper, but to throw it out near the corner flag. So goalkeeper has to trot all the way back to his 6-yard box, put the ball down and kick it from there.
So then Putnams with this goal kick back into play, centre of the park towards with the number 2 who's got the ball here, Shah, sorry. He finds Brown. Brown putting a ball in. It's a good ball here to Folkes. The 16 can't keep it in. Yes, he has. He's done well. He finds Pollock. He's got Brown with him, still with the ball, but cleared by Richards. And he finds Holman, who's under pressure straight away, and gets the ball out for Folkestone, Lowestoft throw-in. Just heard that Stourbridge have gone 2-0 ahead there at Leiston, so they're on equal goal difference now with the Poppies, both on the same amount of points as it's Bammond who gets a goal kick has been given. He can't believe it. He thinks it's a corner. He was going to go and get the ball, decides to leave it, and eventually does sportingly get the ball back to Paul White, but the Lowestoft player's not happy with the referee. Join the club.
I was going to say, you know, we've had some questionable decisions go against us. Well, there's one for Lowestoft to chew on.
So Paul White going to take this goal kick, which should have been a corner, but we'll take it. And he slips on taking it. Headed down by Deeks. He can only find Kelly Evans, who puts the ball towards O'Connor, but that's headed out by Pollock. He finds Smith on the far side. Still Smith, the ball puts a long ball down. It's headed back in by Kelly Evans to Meikle. Meikle on the halfway line, has to play the ball back to Kelly Evans. He puts the ball through, but it's a loose ball. Straight back to the Lowestoft defender. He's putting the ball through towards Smith. Smith, he's outside the penalty area. The flag goes up for offside. Yep. And Paul White collects the ball.
Bammond.
And
caught offside there.
O'Connor is down, and sports therapist goes on to the pitch, obviously from that original tackle on him.
Yeah,
And,
I think Aaron will be coming off. Rhys Hernis is getting stripped on the sideline, and you just hope, like you said, Paul, that it's not a reoccurrence of a knee injury that kept Aaron out for well, most of the season, to be honest.
Just getting back to some kind of match fitness as well.
Yep.
That goal that he scored showed how sharp he can be, and we don't want to see a man of his calibre, or player of his calibre, should I say, not playing for Kettering at the most critical time of the season. But hopefully it's just a knock, and this is precaution. But he is going to be replaced by Rhys Hernis, and so he's going over the far side, which is going to be a Kettering Town trend now to go to the far side. And on comes Rhys Hernis, who's not quite ready actually. He's got, I think he's got more clothes on than we've got, to be honest.
Yeah, he's, like I say, he's well layered up.
He's well layered up. He's taken off at least 3 layers that I can see. But Aaron has gone off. Let's hope
he's
that
still going off.
Yeah.
He's very gingerly on that. Yeah, it looks like his could be his left knee.
So he's coming off with the sports therapist Rachel Burks, and we'll try and find out later what injury that is. But that isn't something you want to see if you're a Kettering Town fan, and been hampered with injuries since the beginning of the season. Of course, he scored 40 goals in all competitions last season, and sadly missed at the beginning of this season, but he's coming off now. He doesn't look too happy, looks a bit despondent. And finally the substitution takes place, and Rhys Hernis comes on. So the cheers behind the tin hat there of Rhys Hernis. But looking at O'Connor, who's sat down, there's no ice going on anything, so have to wait and see on that. But Paul White gets play back underway towards Richards. He wins the header towards Marcus Kelly, but cut out by Deeks, and Pollock gets the ball, runs away with it. Kettering intercept through Towers. It hits the number 9 Bamant. He gets the ball out to Shah. Shah now inside the area, plays it square. In comes a shot. It's a ricochet off a Lowestoft player rather than going towards goal. And Kettering finally get the ball away through Kelly. Rhys Hernis falls over. It's his first contribution to the game. And the ball is kicked out of play by Lowestoft. It's gone a bit scrappy at the moment. The ball is down by the Kettering Town corner flag on our right-hand side. And just looking down here at Rhys Hernis, is having his knee felt by the physio, and the throw-in has been thrown out. It's now thrown to Lowestoft. Brown with it, trying to find Folks. He's found Folks. Back to Brown. Brown beats Kelly to it, has the ball still. There's a nice little turn there. Flicks the ball through to Folks, but Richards intercepts, gets the ball back to Kelly, turns back to Berry. Berry, long ball, but cut out easily by the number 7 Pollock. He's beaten to it by Holman. Holman plays a little touch, and ball kept in by Deeks, and still kept in by Deeks. Ball played into the number 10. Smith might try a shot, doesn't. Gets the ball back to Pollock. He plays it wide on the far side. A different avenue here now for Lowestoft, but a loose ball goes straight into the arms of Paul White from distance. Kettering need to get some composure back in this second half and start to apply themselves as Holman heads on, but that's easily cut out by the Lowestoft defence. Is there going to be a chase here for Paul White's going to run out of his area? Needs to get back. If he gets lobbed here, he could be in trouble. And in comes the ball, but cut out by Towers. It's going a bit ropey from Kettering. It's a bit worrying. And Lowestoft once again trying to get the ball, but this time it's Kelly Evans who puts the ball out of play. Lowestoft looking to get this equaliser.
Yeah, you'd expect them to make a little bit more of the second half from an attacking perspective, where they were virtually non-existent in the first half. But as you say, Aaron O'Connor going off, quite a delay, and it's been scrappy ever since, as far as Kettering are concerned.
Yeah, just need to get that composure back and get the system right. That is Lowestoft on the far side. The number 8 gave the ball away to Holman. Holman turns it, trying to find Rhys Honus. Honus can't do much with it. Ball's played back to the goalkeeper, and Kelly's trying to break him down. It's flicked on. It's Shah gets the ball through. Paul White this time allows the ball to go back into his penalty area as Folkes tries to run him down. But Paul White wins that battle easily. And got a rain in the air now as we get into this game. Paul White with the kick. Trying to find Storer on the far side, which he does. Storer puts a high ball in and then a high ball out. And a throw in on the far side to Lowestoft, who's taken by the Adam Tan. Lowestoft still with the ball, pumping the ball forward. Kelly Evans to Berry, then Towers launches one for Holman to chase. Goalkeeper comes out, rather luckily gets the ball to the number 11 Brown. He puts it on the other side for Smith. Smith keeps it in play under pressure, gives the ball to Deeks. Deeks turns, puts the ball through, but boots the ball out of play in trying to find Brown with the ball. So Kettering fans in the tin hat saying, come on Kettering, I need to get behind the team. Declan Towers with the ball. He puts a long ball in again for Holman to try and head on. He gets to it. Holman flicks the ball through. Here's Honus, and looks like it's a free kick on the edge of the penalty area.
Yeah, good refereeing that was. Played the advantage there to see if the ball had squeezed through to Rhys Honus, and when it didn't, he blew up for the foul on Dan Holman. Sorry, I say on the D of the penalty area.
Was luckily it's not a penalty.
Well, I think we put the penalty demons to bed, Paul. We took 4 on Tuesday night.
Yeah, they did exceptionally well on Tuesday night.
Each one went in. It's going to be Marcus Kelly, I think, who fancies it from on his left foot here.
It wasn't there, was it, really? It was nearer to the penalty line than the D, but I think it's a better trajectory, as you say, for Marcus Kelly.
Yep. It's definitely just favouring the left footer where the ball is positioned.
Anything on target here is going to be a problem. 5 in the wall and a Kettering player. Kelly over it. Kelly comes off the wall straight back to Meikle. He traps it, does well, goes out wide, puts the ball in low and cleared by Lowestoft, only towards Richards, who heads it back into the mix. He's found Storer. Storer flicks the ball through. Here's Honus, and the flag goes up for offside, and it missed anyway, but a good move.
Yeah, Poppy's putting the pressure on again there, sort of easing themselves out of the slumbers of earlier in the half, and Lowestoft are going to be making their second substitution. Pollock is coming off. Oh, Jackson.
Thought he dropped one.
Yeah, Jackson's coming off, and number 12 is coming on.
Luca Vega.
Luca Vega. Now there's an interesting name. Suzanne Vega had a song out called Luca.
Well, Lowestoft getting the ball through, and it's a chase here for Shah. Shah has when it gets the ball back to Brown. Brown puts one in here, sweeping in, headed out by Towers and then Storer. The cries of get out, but Kettering haven't done that yet. Roturner gets the ball to Kelly, who hooks it away. Now there's the chase on here. Can Holman get there? He might be able to. Rhys Honus has got there. Rather slow 1-2, and unfortunately the goalkeeper comes out and diffuses the danger. Finds Deeks, but he only finds Kelly Evans on the halfway line. It's put through to Storer. Storer back to Kelly Evans. Kelly Evans looks up, plays it to Storer, then falls down, brought down. Referee doesn't play the advantage this time. Gives the free kick as Kelly Evans down. It might be a booking as well. I'm not sure. Referee just having a quick chat over there. Don't do it again, lad, otherwise you'll be in the book.
Yeah, accumulation for Mr. Deeks.
Yeah, it is Connor Deeks.
last warning. But yeah, Kettering raising the game a bit, which is good to see, because I think I think they're there to be taken at the moment, Lowestoft, if we get that second goal.
Yeah, they've not really had any chances. It's one of those classic, isn't it, where they're going to get one chance and
yeah,
and
exactly.
score. We don't want to get into that
We've been
scenario.
here too many times, so yeah, Kettering need to push on and get the second, and they are trying to do that now.
It comes in from the Towers and a goal. I did say, didn't I, that Towers scored a goal with his head against Alfchurch. He's repeated the dose. Lovely goal, 2-0.
Yeah, Declan Towers, a fantastic header. We know he's got that kind of capability, and he rose tallest in the penalty area, buries his header in the corner, and Kettering, having been chasing that second goal, have now achieved that second goal. Lovely free kick hoisted in, and wonderful header for Declan Towers.
Yep, it was, and you were able to see that on our highlights later in the week. And it's a goal worth looking at, that is for sure, as Brett Sulkin is limbering up. He's just sat down again along with Ben Milnes. It's Kettering Town 2 then, Lowestoft 0. The ball though with the Trawler boys to get back in. The shot comes in straight at Paul White. That's the first shot on target that Lowestoft had. Paul White battered it down, picks it up, and that was a bit of a shock to the system. Don't want to see too many of those there, Gary.
No, it was at range, but he caught it well, but straight down Paul White's throat, and a comfortable save for him.
Flicked on by Holman to Gary Storer. Gary Storer finds Rhys Honessy, flicked on by him, and here comes Kelly. It's in! Oh, absolutely brilliant.
Best of the lot, Paul. Best of the lot. That was great moving on the far side. Great interplay between Rhys Honessy and Gary Storer. Lovely ball into Marcus Kelly on his left foot, and that was only going to end up in the bottom corner, wasn't it? Brilliant goal.
Well, we were saying at half time with the wind and with the conditions, it would see how Kettering would get on, and they've certainly answered their critics. It was a wonderful goal. Again, you can see that on our highlights package later in the week. 3-0 to the Poppies, and 2 goals in 2 minutes.
Phew.
Ish.
Yeah, that all of a sudden things look rosy again at Latimer Park, doesn't it? It's amazing what a goal or two does for the confidence, and you could just see it returning to the Kettering Town team in that last move. Wonderful goal.
Yeah, that swagger's back, isn't it? And that's what's been missing, but still a quarter of this game at least to go. Kettering 3-0 ahead as Holman wins the ball and then loses it to Deeks. But he keeps continuing there, and an interesting tackle from Richards.
There's a Richards special off his feet, jumping in a little bit.
One of his trademark tackles.
Yeah. To be fair to the referee, he's just said no, it's a free kick, nothing more. Although Lowestoft a little bit unhappy with that, looking for a card. But they do have an opportunity to put pressure on Kettering from the free kick.
A free kick then halfway in Kettering's half on about the mid-centre of the park, taken by Smith. Comes in towards the back post, and the number 6, Adam Tan, rather, I suppose, flippantly just heads the ball for a goal kick under no threat whatsoever, really. And Paul White just juggling around with the ball. Paul White then to get the play back underway. He does. Good ball from White. Headed back though to Drell Berry, who makes a little mistake there. It heads on to the number 9. Good interception by Declan Towers, allowing Paul White to take the ball high under pressure. That could have resulted in a trickier moment for Kettering, but they got out of it rather well.
Yeah, Towers did well there. Got his mate Berry out of a bad bit of play, but just goes to show you that Kettering does need to stay very alert and not concede anything silly.
Well, Kettering struggling to get out of their own half at the moment. They keep knocking it out for throw-ins. Marcus Kelly there for scoring that goal was juggling around with it, but couldn't keep it from going out. But now it is out of Kettering's half. Dan Holman gets the ball and he shields it well. Puts a lovely ball through now for Meikle to chase. Meikle, he's got Rhys Honus in the centre with him. Can he see him? Puts the ball in. It's rather too high though. And it goes straight towards the goalkeeper. Unlucky there for Kettering, as the onrushing Rhys Honus would have loved to have ploughed that one into the net. But away comes Shah, intercepted by Roe Turner though. Roe Turner flicks the ball through, is impeded, nothing given. Shah gets the ball back to Deeks, and Deeks with the ball now. Moving forward, bit of space there, not being challenged, puts it over on the far side as the wind makes it rather difficult for us to be heard, I would think. Still Lowestoft with the ball on the far side, probing at Kettering. Still with them, they can't get it, almost going 1 yard, go 2 yards and then boot the ball out of play, which they've done.
Yeah, the wind is Royston 3, Biggleswade 5, we've been told, so that sounds like an interesting game there. Royston have they've gone off the rail since we beat them. Paul.
They have, they've not won a game since we beat them 1-0, and that, as we said, that's some game there, 8 goals, and Biggleswade a threat. Haven't lost many games, Biggleswade, and continuing their good form. Ball through from Towers. Can Honus get there? The goalkeeper's come out between them, 2 of them. Holman can't get there, and somehow Lowestoft get the ball away. It's towards the number 9, but Berry heads the ball back to Paul White. And game a little bit more open now, as it needs to be, for at least for Lowestoft to get back into this game. Kettering can afford to be a little bit more extravagant up front. High kick from Paul White. Only finds Meikle though. Meikle comes inside. He's in the centre of the park. Beats 1, beats 2. Threads the ball through, but intercepted by Adam Tan. He gives it to Jarvis. Back to the number 3 over there, Wilkinson. Gives the ball away to Roe Turner, trapped by Storer. He flicks it through, but Brown should get this back to the goalkeeper. He leaves it for the goalkeeper. And the wind just taking it away there, wasn't it?
Yeah, let the wind do the work.
Well, I say after a good curry, you know.
And I tell you, the wind, sometimes it's like jumping out of an airplane up here with the on the gantry with the wind coming down. So hopefully you can hear the commentary reasonably well, and apologies if you can't.
The ball pumped forward by Lowestoft, and it's gone for a corner. It came off a Kettering player there, so it gives Lowestoft a chance to reply to this 3-0 scoreline. Corner to be taken on the far side by the turnstiles. As the wind rather chilly. I know we keep mentioning this, but it is rather cool up here. Corner to come in. Only in it comes now, headed in here. Paul White under no pressure, as Gary Storer will try and get this out, which he does well. Gary Storer gives it to Kelly. Kelly feeds the ball through to Honus. Honus takes 1 touch, another is fouled, but and it comes off Shah for a Kettering Town throw in by the halfway line. Taken by Roe Turner. Roe Turner to Storer, chests it over his head. Honus is trying to get there, he can't. Brown can. Brown clears it. He finds Bannant. He loses the ball straight away towards Kelly, and that. Well, not sure about that decision, but Lowestoft get the throw in. Towers wins it, puts the ball through, but it goes out of play as the wind is battering us here. Almost, yeah, almost took my clipboard into oblivion. Wow.
Yeah. We'll be hanging on to the gantry for dear life in a second, I tell you.
Well, Deeks has won that one away from Meikle. He's found Jarvis. Jarvis has got the ball to the substitute Vega. Vega back with the ball. Brown signalling for it. Found Jarvis. Back to Wilkinson. Wilkinson to Brown. Brown playing the ball back. It's all in Lowestoft half at the moment. The ball now back with the goalkeeper. And he pumps the ball high into the night sky. Richards is underneath it. Wins it, Richards. Puts a long up and under, but it's going to go out of play, I think. No, it's swirled back into play as Folks keeps it in. Deeks trying to find Shah, but out comes the towering Roe Turner. Still going Roe Turner, but he's clipped, and the ball back in Kettering's half. It's with Shah on this right hand side. Richards does well, comes in between two, puts the ball through. It's a chase on now. Goalkeeper have to come rushing out to thwart Honus. He does. He pumps the ball high into the air. Brown's got the ball underneath him, but Roe Turner is grappled down for a foul by Brown. Almost took his shorts off, and he's going to be booked for that operation. Well, I'm going to have to get the harness up here soon. It's getting that dangerous.
I was going to say, yeah, it is getting a little bit dangerous. The only thing in a favour, Paul, is we're stood at the front of the gantry and the wind is in our face. So if anything, we're going to get blown back. If it was the other way round and the wind was at our backs this strong, I think we'd be on our haunches to commentate. Otherwise, well, we might end up in the home dugout.
Another substitution coming on here. It's going to be the recently shorn Ben Tozen's going to come on.
It's like a new romantic haircut.
It is like a new romantic. Getting a bit of stick, I think, from people here. Who is it? Who is it? They're saying, but putting water over it to try and diffuse it. But there we are. Kelly with the free kick, trying to find Kelly Evans on the other side. Kelly Evans does not win the ball. It's cleared by the number 10 towards Towers, actually, who wins that. Gets the ball back to Kelly. Kelly decided not to release the ball. Does now as it catches in the wind. It's hoofed back towards Richards. Richards in the centre of the park might have a crack here. Still going with it. Richards does have a crack. Shoots. Oh, that would have been a brilliant goal if that had gone in. It just goes wide of the post, but a great effort from Richards. And indeed, the substitution now is going to be made. It's going to be Ben Hairless Toland coming on, and Declan Towers, who scored that second goal, is coming off to a rapturous applause from the Kettering fans, and on comes Ben Toland.
He deserves all that applause as well, Declan Towers. I think it's no coincidence that he's come back, and Kettering look a lot more solid at the back.
They do. They certainly have missed him, haven't they, in the recent games? And the ball coming towards us again, but it's kept in play this time. Richards wins it. Flicked on by Deeks, and Ben Tozen will get his first touch. It will be a throw-in. Wind picks up again as cameraman is trying to hold on to the camera as well. It's
we're gonna have to lash ourselves to
it. It's getting extremely dangerous.
It's getting to that stage now.
So Toseland with the throw-in, and it's a high ball played by Lowestoft, and Holman gets a boot in the face. Meikle gets the ball through towards Storer. Storer comes through here and tries to side it by the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper gets an outstretched arm to it, and away come Lowestoft. That should have been number 4, but for the agility of the goalkeeper, and Lowestoft get away with the ball. It's Deeks with it on the halfway line, loses it straight away though. Toseland puts a long ball through, can't control it, and it's a shinner, and it is shinned out as Brett the Angel Sulcan is going to come on it in a few moments. The throw in though to be taken by Lowestoft. Toseland wins that, and almost got another touch. That would have been my 3rd touch if I'd have got that one.
If you'd have gone for that one, Paul, you would have been over the edge. You would have definitely been falling.
So Brown with the throw in finds the number 9. So my team sheet now has been blown into oblivion, so marvellous. Folks, very under pressure here as the way come Lowestoft puts the ball in, cleared by Kelly Evans. Storer falls over in the process of trying to clear the ball. Lowestoft whip one in, another player falls over. It is the number 9 Bamant. He goes down. It's very skiddy out there, and Indeed, it is going to be Brett Solken coming on 80 minutes. It's going to be Marcus Kelly, I think, who's going to come off.
Yep. Marcus Kelly.
Marcus Kelly, who got that third goal, and what a great goal it was, getting a good round of applause as well. So Brett comes on, taking off his ring and his brooch and his necklace, medallions. They've all had to be taken off. All his blings off. So never see that again. That's going straight on eBay, I bet. But it's going to be a throw in. Oh, crikey! Wow! And that almost took my trousers down. That was quite. We may have to actually do the rest of the commentary inside, because this is getting a bit dangerous. Brown with the ball, flicks it through to Van Am, but cleared by Turner. There's a bit of afterseat, a bit of pull-in, and it's going to be a booking, I think, for Richards. Well, there's a surprise, and it is another tugging, apparently. I think we can say that.
Another card, and not the seasonal type.
Yes, not the seasonal type, and it's not very merry either. So 81 minutes gone here at Latimer Park. It's Kettering Town 3, Lowestoft Town 0. It's a free kick to Lowestoft on the right-hand side, just outside the penalty area. Wind battering us again. Must be some hurricane somewhere, but in it comes high towards the back post. Paul White does very well as it's swirling around there, takes it well, catches it, falls to the ground, and relieves the pressure.
Yeah, good catch, good take from Paul White. It's never easy in these conditions to judge the flight of the ball, but did a good effort on that occasion.
Deeks gets the ball back for the trawler men, finds Smith, and might be a chance here. Ball comes in straight at Paul White. It cannons off Paul White's chest, bounces in front of him, and he gets it on the second attempt. That was by Ben Folkes from distance, and just Lowestoft's second attempt on target through the game.
Similar to the Deeks effort, a good strike, good pace, good power, but straight at Paul White, fortunately for Kettering, that he deals with.
Holman puts the ball over, but can't do much with it, giving it away to Jarvis. Jarvis finds Brown on the far side. Pumps the ball forward for Folkes to chase, but Kelly Evans will allow this to go out of play. He marshals it out, and in fact it's going to be a throw-in right by the corner flag for Kettering. Well, there's a bit of chit-chat going on with the referee. Throw not been taken yet. It is now. It's back into play. What is it? Attendance has been given as 586 as Meikle gets away with the ball. He's got Honus with him. It's going to be a challenge here by the number 12. That's a penalty. It should be a penalty, but it isn't. And Meikle goes down.
I thought he got the ball, to be fair.
In my biased eyes, it's a penalty.
It always is.
I'm about the only person that thought it was.
Yeah, not even Mr. Meikle thought it was, and he was the one who was tackled.
Deeks finds Jarvis outside the area. It's played in, but Turner, and away comes Reese Honus, who is fouled along with Meikle. So Dan Holman has won the sponsors man of the match. We hope to grab a word with him later on. Well, Paul, about 5 minutes or so to go here. This game, it's 3-0 to the Poppies. You're listening to Poppies Windy TV audio. Solken wins the header, but Deeks gets the ball away, but only towards Turner and Berry. Berry has to play the ball back to Paul White. He does successfully, and White clears the ball back out for Solken to chase. He won't keep that in. It's too windy. I'm going to leave you in the capable hands now of Gary Foreman as I exit this Windfest.
You're exiting early down the old steps.
I am. So
take your time.
We'll see you all at Banbury next week. It'll be me and Ed Palmer as Richards feeds the ball to Meikle. I'll just watch this one go through towards Holman, and the referee linesman's flag goes up as Holman puts the ball into the empty net.
Yes, Dan Holman with another Man of the Match award, and he'd be quite high up on my list if I was choosing it as well. I think a special mention for Mr. Towers coming back and having a great performance at the back for Kettering. I think that's definitely made a difference from the defensive point of view. And Gary Storer as well. What another sterling performance, this time in a midfield role for him today. So another honourable mentions as well on the way. It's been a good team effort really from Kettering this afternoon. We've mentioned the difficult conditions on a few occasions, and that's certainly the case today. But you would have thought the trawler men or the trawler boys would be better than Kettering at dealing with the wind, but we've actually coped with the conditions better this afternoon, and we're now reaping the reward with a 3-0 score line to boot. The ball is on the far side at the moment with Wilkinson, who plays the ball forward long, held up by Bammond, but the ball ricochets to Michael Richards, who is promptly fouled, and it will be Lowestoft to make their final change. Number 14 is coming on. That's Colon Wren, who is coming on. And let's have a look and see who's coming off. It's number 10, Adam Smith, making way. It's going to be Paul White to take the free kick. In the Kettering half, pumps the ball forward long, headed away by the Lowestoft defence, and offside decision. So it will be Elvis Putnam to take the free kick. Comes forward to Michael Brown on this near side, but he loses the ball. Toseland clears. Picked up at the back though by Lowestoft again, and the ball finds its way out to Wilkinson on the left hand side. Kelly Evans gets a foot in though, and the ball ricocheting around in the midfield area. Nobody seems to get hold of it. The referee blowing up again for a free kick, this time to Lowestoft on the halfway line. And knowing the Kettering team, clean sheet will be of great importance to them, considering the amount of goals they have conceded in recent games. So they won't want to let anything in the last minute or two of this game. The ball goes forward to Bammond, tries something spectacular, doesn't come off, and the ball breaks to Meikle, who has a run. Under challenge though, but the ball comes to Ben Toseland. Lovely ball inside to Brett Sulker, just overran. And Michael Brown gets the ball forward only as far as Jarrell Berry. Plays it forward to Gary Storer in the midfield area, cuts inside, and back out to Kelly Evans on the wing, to Rhys Honus on the far side, back to Storer, tried to play 1-2 with Honus, but just overclips it. But Kettering will get the throw in. On the far side, quickly taken. Kelly Evans gets the ball back from Honus to Storer, back to Kelly Evans, puts the cross in high, headed away as far as Toseland, and the ball back to Dan Holman on the edge of the area. fires over the top of the bar, not too far away, only a couple of feet over the bar that time. He has looked lively again this afternoon, Dan Holman. Since he's arrived from Aldershot, he has made a difference, there's no doubt about that. You can tell his quality. Obviously played at a higher level, and his touch and his awareness has been very beneficial to Kettering's efforts this season, I'm sure. And it's Kelly Evans on the far side, is letting the ball roll for a throw-in near the halfway line, and just about expecting the board to go up any moment now. In fact, here it comes. 3 minutes extra time for Kettering to see out, and Lowestoft have a throw-in at the moment on the far side. Thrown forward, cleared by Michael Richins towards Dan Holman, who's wrestling with the centre half, and unfairly wrestling according to the referee. And Elvis will be looking to clear this one from his penalty area where the free kick's been given. Pumped forward into the dark sky, Michael Richins with his header on it, and Kettering will earn a throw-in. And 2 minutes to go before we can all leave the gantry. That myself and Matt are the only two left on here. Everybody else has gone downstairs for a little bit of warmth and a little bit of safety. Ball is back in play, a high ball out from Lowestoft. Ball bounces, Michael Richin hooks it back forward for Kettering. Hooked forward by Deeks for Lowestoft. It's a little bit of tennis game going on at the moment. Nothing particularly happening. Gary Storer on the far side, but he's out muscled and gives away a free kick. Just inside the Lowestoft half. And I think we can safely say this ball's going to go long. And indeed it does. Forward, in fact too long. It's going to skip all the way out to a throw-in right in the near side corner. Lowestoft will look to pin Kettering in. I'm down on my haunches now, that's the safest place to be. Matt unfortunately has got to manoeuvre the camera, so he's braving it on his feet at the moment. Good throw from Toseland, finds Dan Holman, plays it forward, intercepted from Lowestoft, play it forward, away from, comes to Brown, crosses in on his left foot, and straight at Paul White. There's no mistake with the catch in the difficult conditions. The referee looks at his watch, and I think that's going to be it as soon as the ball gets kicked forward. And it is indeed. And Kettering 3, Lowestoft 0 is the final score here. A good Kettering performance in very, very difficult conditions. A little bit of confidence back in the Puppies side today. And as the rig begins to shake, I'm going to call it good night, thank you very much, and we'll head back down to Paul in the nice warm studio.
Well, that's just what the doctor ordered. A 3-0 victory, a good 3-0 victory in very difficult conditions indeed, as Marcus Law's side there. 3-0 first goal came from Aaron O'Connor, followed up by Declan Towers, and the peach of the three was Marcus Kelly's third goal. We will be able to see all those on our highlights package later in the week. Also, our goal of the month will be available on Monday as well. We are hoping to get some of the players and managerial staff in for a chat about today's game, but with the other sides in the division, I think Stourbridge were also winning 3-0, but all the other results seem to be going in Kettering's favour. It means that Kettering will be on 41 points along with Stourbridge, and I think the next team then are going to be on 30 points. So it is a good day for Kettering Town. Just what they needed after that 3-0 defeat last week against St Ives, and sets us up nicely now for that trip to Banbury. I think we're drawing 3-3 at Needham Market last time I heard the scores. So there we go. 586 was the gate here at Latin Park just before Christmas. Not a bad turnout considering the events of last week and a game in midweek with all these games to come. But there we go, 586. It proved to be a successful day for Marcus Law's side. It used all 3 substitutes, replacing all the goal scorers, so they did okay in that. And it was pleasing to see Declan Towers get a goal as well. I did say on commentary that he can often score a few goals from his head, and he proved that right today. We're going to have, I think it's going to be Luke Graham coming over. We're also going to speak to assistant manager Richard Lavery, so we'll be having them over for their opinions about recent events in today's game in a few moments. The battering that the cameraman and commentator stuck upstairs, I have to commend them for that. It was quite dangerous up there on the gantry. The wind picked up and was rather difficult indeed. It became quite dangerous indeed. So well done, Matt Spearman there, hanging on to the camera for dear life. So we'll have to see his efforts a little later in the week when our editor gets them all sorted out. You can hear the wind battering against the cabin now as we are going to do this interview, so we'll let you listen in a few moments time. But it's great to get back to winning ways. It's always, for me, I don't know how about you, but when we lose it takes me a week or so to get over it, and the way that we lost last week against St Ives took me a lot longer than a week to get over it in theory. But it is now history. Kettering on 41 points, the same as Stourbridge, just a goal difference separating us, and we're going to play them again in a little while. So it's going to be a big game at Stourbridge at the War Memorial Ground, I think it's called. War Memorial Ground, I think, yeah, that's what it's called. So we'll be there in a few weeks' time in the new year. So waiting for them to come over. They're obviously going to be over, which will be good. So you were able to hear Richard Laffrey, Luke Graham, and I think we're going to get somebody else as well. Is that true? I'm looking at my monitor over here. No, just those two are going to come over. Did think we're going to get Marcus Kelly, but he's not going to come over. But we will bring you all the latest news. The news, though, prior to the game was the news that Dan Holman's red card had been rescinded. The appeal has been overturned, so that was great news that was only broken to us as the team sheets came out. Took everybody by surprise, as I think it was 50-50 on that appeal. And I mentioned cameraman Matt Spearman, who almost got blown away with the wind up there in difficult conditions, has just entered the studio, and he'll be with us, I think, maybe in a few moments. He's nodding his head. He's just playing with the camera, as is his wont. But it was quite a dangerous time up there. I know we've been in these conditions before, but that was quite worrying, wasn't it?
I just said to Gary before, if anyone had any cobwebs, they've been blown away to the other side of Northamptonshire. My goodness. But you know what, you couldn't tell down on the pitch, the players, you know, they played so well, and then strong gusts there, and you know, the goal kicks from Paul White were pretty successful most of the time, and you know, he played well there, you know, getting the ball down the far end of the pitch. Kettering were able to control it. Likes of Dan Holman, you know, really able to control that ball up front, and certainly made the difference for the Poppers this afternoon. You know, could have been a difficult game after the few results we've had over the past couple of weeks, but actually they went out there. It was a controlled performance. Don't think they ever really got out of sort of second, third gear really, but they didn't need to. You know, it was an efficient performance, and Marcus should be really proud of it.
Yeah, I think also you've got to consider that the windy conditions did play one heck of a part in that game, especially the second half when it really got. I know we mentioned it quite a lot on commentaries. It was quite a dangerous position for us to be in, but on there, I think Kettering managed the conditions better than Lowestoft did. In fact, I think I can only remember 2 shots that Lowestoft had all game.
Certainly, you know, there's the second half sort of bullet shot straight to Paul White, and he was alert, ready. You know, even if he didn't have too much to do, you know, when he was called upon, he was able to do exactly what was needed.
He was indeed. He was just a few back passes and a few corners and. Occasional grab, wasn't it?
I think that's all it was, wasn't it? Yes, yeah.
I suppose on the downside, we'll try and get some information about this, was Aaron O'Connor had to come off through injury. I did see he was being treated in the dugout. We'll try and get some feedback on that when one of the managerial team come in, which we hope will be Richard Lavery in a few moments' time. I can give you the results now. It's Alfchurch 0. Rushden Diamonds 0, Colville 3, Kings Lynn 3, Hales Owen 0, Tamworth 1, Leaston 0, Stourbridge 3 is the latest score, Needham Market 3, Banbury 3 latest score, and a sensational game going on down in Royston. It's Royston 4, Biggleswade 6, and it's still going on. Rushall 1, Hitchin 2 latest score, St Ives 2, Bedworth 1. They were 1-0 down, St Ives, against the bottom club, but they've clawed back to 2-1 ahead. Again, latest score. And St Neots 3, Redditch 1, Stratford 2, Barwell 1. So Kettering Reserves doing well down there against Barwell. I am in jest, of course, but if you don't know, most of the Stratford management is ex-Kettering Town management.
Certainly, yes, they seem to be doing all right as well, it seems.
In fact, all those scores now are full-time, so Kettering needed that win to keep above Stourbridge, but they do have 2 games in hand, so that is good value for Kettering. I'm sure that the 586 that were here will have enjoyed what they saw today. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, as I said, there was some good quality out there. It was difficult to show it, but you know there was some good work there. I think the likes of Marcus Kelly, you know, ran his socks off today. Lyndon Meikle as well. You know, he was constant and he was really unlucky. I think you know, he did well to battle his way through. There's a couple of opportunities where he, instead of him passing the ball, I think, you know, he should have had a shot. You know, we've seen the goal of the month competition on its way at the moment, and
yes, it will be with us. Goal of the month. We did get one of the names wrong. We're going to change that and get that back on there. But if you did see the goal of the month before we took it off, then you've got an insight into who's going to be.
Certainly. It's going to be a difficult one, I think. Although, I thought it was going to settle for him and do well there. I think Michael Richards, you know, he had a shot later on in the game as well, able to keep that down, and you know,
well, that'd been on target. That'd been a net buster, wouldn't it?
Oh, certainly. You know, the power he had on it, it was fabulous. You know, they've done really well there in real difficult conditions, and you know, they should be pleased with the performance today.
Okay, looks like that we do have some of the combatants from today and staff. We'll get them in to give their views on recent events and also today's game. We've got Luke Graham, who didn't come on, and we've also got assistant manager Richard Lavery, who's going to talk us through the last week in football. They're saying politics is a long time, but a week in football can equally be as long. And Richard, first of all, well done.
Evening.
Evening, yes. Hi Luke, you right?
I'm good, bad.
Can you get us both in there? Yeah, there we go. Well, what can we say about that? It's back to winning ways, which is good. It must have been difficult conditions as well with that wind. It certainly was for us up on that gantry. Always got blew off up there, but the bonus there is the 3-0 win.
Yeah, back to winning ways. We've had 2 indifferent results, but back to winning ways. We'll take that.
Why do you think we had the indifferent results? I mean, the game last week against St Ives was quite an odd one, wasn't it? It really was. 3-0 down and really without a bat of an eyelid.
Yeah, I think a lot of teams coming to our place now and defending. So we've got to change the way we're going to play. And today we've changed the way we played and we've got joy from it. So we have got to change going forward, because every team that comes here, we're going to sit back and try and weather the storm and catch on the counter. And St Ives last week, they did that, didn't they?
They did.
But and Redditch as well did the same.
Lowestoft presented you with some different challenges, I would say, this afternoon. Probably not like St Ives. They're a big team, weren't they? They stuck at you, but once you got that second and third goal, it was all over, wasn't it, really?
Yeah, before you need to get the first goal. We had a few little chances before the first goal. Once the first goal went in, they've speeded. They were trying to waste time, weren't they? So we get the first goal, and obviously then we go and get the second and third.
Aaron O'Connor came off. Can you give us any insight into what's happened there?
Well, no, we're hoping it's not too bad. He's tweaked something, so.
Is it a recurrence of the past injury?
No. We'll review it during the week, but
Fingers crossed.
It's not too bad.
I suppose the good news prior to the game, which we didn't find about until we got the team sheet, was Dan Holman's was rescinded, his red card rescinded, which goes down into Kettering history, of course, as then about the third or fourth player that's happened to. But that is good news. It just shows you that referees do make quite a few mistakes. There was a couple of today, wasn't there, as well, where the sending off on Dan last week and the one that maybe should have happened today.
Yeah, the ref was at the bad side against Dan, so I don't know how he's seen the red card. He's obviously heard what he's heard and give obviously a red card, but obviously Dan's played today, and Dan was he looked lively today. Really
How frustrating is it for you being on the sidelines when you're on the sideline, and if you're on the park as well, and you see a decision like that and it goes against you, and you know that isn't right? I know for fans, etc., they have their views about it, but how does the management and players feel when they know the decision's gone against you?
I think it's even worse when you've got Poppy's TV.
Oh, thank you.
Because we get to see it quickly, don't
Straight
we?
away,
So it's even more frustrating. But we could go on about officials all day. You can't rely on them. It's a tough task. I wouldn't be an official. Dad wouldn't be an official.
That's
He wouldn't
right,
last
yeah.
1 minute being an official.
Really?
Every level you go down, then they're there at that level for a reason, aren't they? And it is frustrating. It's clear, and we knew, providing it would get to the right people, that it'd be rescinded, in our opinion, and rightfully so.
There's a good chance, or a good opportunity that we actually took the photographs and had the imagery and the
That's the
cutting
plus
ready.
side. Having obviously Poppy's TV, obviously you video the games. It's good to look back on the good and the bad, and obviously it's done us a favour there, hasn't it?
Results today have gone for the Poppies. It was only Stourbridge, they won 3-0, so we're equal with them on 41 points and goal difference. Those are the full results on the screen there. The chasing pack falling further behind. It looks like a two-horse race.
Yeah. Well, it's not even Christmas yet, but it is looking like a two-horse race, as you say. But obviously we've got a couple of games in hand. I don't think we play them to the new year now.
No, it's January, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's a big month.
So we'll keep winning, hopefully, and push away.
Banbury United next week away. We've already played them in the CSS Challenge Cup first round, a 3-2 win there, where we came back from 1-0 down and 2-1 behind to win that 3-2. Different team, of course, picked on that occasion. Hitchin Town down here before Christmas, and then Bedworth United. Although the bottom of the league, it could be a tricky one.
Yeah,
and then the big game against Kings Lynn on the 29th.
Yeah. Well, the Christmas period is always difficult because there's a lot of games coming up in it. But if we can keep putting the performances like we did today, and it was like I say, it's back to basics today. We've gone back to the start of the season, playing maybe a different way, but to me, I think it's the right way. Especially when the pitch is getting like that. The pitch is awful today, and it's windy and it's not nice.
The pitch, I think you mentioned to me, didn't you, in the week about the pitch being a bit sticky, and Kettering can't play their normal game of football that they usually play.
Yeah, I mean, teams are sitting back, so defenders going to get more of the ball. You're going to recycle it around, trying to find pockets of space to try and play for the first, because we've got some really good players. But ultimately, it's hard to shift the ball from side to side on there. I know the work that Graham does. Bless him, he does his best. We know the restraints we have, and for me, I can only see it getting worse. So we've analysed the last few games, and like I say, we were more direct today. We've got it into Dan Holman and Aaron O'Connor. And when in that type of form, centre halves are going to struggle against them. So, obviously, hopefully, ours is not too bad. We've got a decent replacement coming on for him, but Lyndon fought really good on the front foot, good structuring behind. And like I say, for me, we've said, how can we get more out of the lads? Winning 1-0, with side base. But then after that week, we're buzzing just to get back to that, because that's what we've been good all season. So.
Well, exactly. Well, as I say, we're away at Banbury United next week, and we've only conceded 2 goals away from home, which is fantastic, isn't it? Really, I mean, it's just so different, the home form and away form. I know we had those 2, well, not bad games. I mean, a 4-4 draw, and it's a 4-4 draw, isn't it? But
we've been good all year, apart from the last 2 games, haven't we? By conceding goals, the defence, whoever comes in, whether it's Luke, whoever plays centre half, they do a good job. And so we probably needed that, maybe a bit of a kick-start again to get back on winning ways.
Declan certainly did well, didn't he, when he came up?
Yeah, Declan going head. He's quick, he's powerful, he's decent.
Is he still recovering from his injury or illness?
Yeah, he's okay. I think it's just a little calf niggle, but it's nothing. Get Luke back in everywhere.
Well, that's a great win for Kettering. It's going to be good, so you can see it on our highlights a little later. And obviously, we're going to have to try and keep this winning process going. The fans get a bit itchy, don't they? When
yeah. Well, like I say, it's 2 blips, but we'll start the win again. Hopefully that'll start it, and we'll kick-start on again. And
even with that blip, we were still 2 points ahead of where we were this time last season anyway. So you know,
where are we today then?
we're 5 points up now, I think. So that's even better. But
I think we set our stall really high, didn't we? And after them 2 blips, we just thought.
Marcus said to me he wanted 40 points at 15 games, and we got 38, so it wasn't bad, was it?
So at the start of the season, you take it, wouldn't you? So at the end of the day, we're going well.
We're going well. Let's hope we go well next week. No game on Tuesdays. Rest up a bit now then, and take the next stream of games before the Christmas period. Thank you both for coming over. Thank you, Luke, and brilliant. Nice to get back to winning ways, and we can have a nice week of peace. And
cheers, pal.
Cheers. There we go then. That is Richard and Luke. They're giving their views on recent events and the fantastic 3-0 victory against Lowestoft Town. Matt Spearman just comes back to join us before we close. Matt, interesting always to get the views of managers and staff and players, and up for it, aren't they?
Certainly, yeah, really up for it, and really positive as well. Quite interesting how Richard probably doesn't say as much in the studio as he does out on the touchline, but it's great.
It's always a good cabaret, isn't it? With Lavs on the touchline.
Well, it's he's making sure every player is keeping on their toes. That's something we've mentioned or fans have mentioned in the past. About the because obviously Maxwell, his sort of preferred style is to study, to watch the game, doesn't really give out them instructions, and there's someone there now on the touchline who really knows the players out there and keeps them on their toes, as I say, and is a great character to have around the squad as well. And I think the players enjoy playing for his tactics as well.
Well, there we go then. We're going to now go into our final phase of the game. I don't think we're going to get anybody else coming over, so I think we're going to say that is going to be it. I'm just looking at our producer, who's telling me to going to give it 2 minutes more to see if we can get another player to come over and have a chat with us. We've just had Richard, as I say, and Luke, so if you are hanging on there, we'll hang on a bit with you. We'll try and pontificate a little bit.
Well, yeah, it's difficult without the actual highlights to discuss the goals.
Yeah,
but that first goal, it was for Kettering, I think they'd worked so hard in that first half, and in the end, yes, it was never from the Lowestoft defence, but actually that's because Kettering had forced that error. The player had sort of passed it back to the goalkeeper, an awful pass, so Dan Holman managed to get on the edge of that and turn the ball away, and O'Connor there as well, just to put it in the back of the net. But that's what happened where you don't rush it. They sustained the pressure, they continued to build, turn that screw, and in the end there was that collapse of Lowestoft, and that's exactly the tactics Kettering were after today.
You mentioned about the Aaron O'Connor goal. That is just something that we've been missing early on the season, but in saying that, we won all those games, didn't we? But we missed so many chances that were sort of tap-ins and sharpness of O'Connor's mind to get in front of that goalkeeper and get the ball in the net. We were missing that early on the season, but still grinding out the victories.
Well, that was it. What Rhys Honus was doing on his own up front, not even as a sort of recognised striker, was great. And thing is now, the game's coming quick and fast, and there's some really strong teams who Kettering come up against. I still don't think Aaron O'Connor is back to his full form, which we saw last season. I don't even think he's back to his full fitness.
Certainly won't help today, will it, with the niggle that he's got?
No, certainly not. Sure. But then on the other hand, you've got Dan Holman, who's really come along and added another dimension to the squad. I still think they've got some work to do between them. Know when to one hold back, one do the running. I mean, Dan Holman seems to be the person who does prefer to come back into that midfield to collect the ball there. You saw him, with that risk of coming back to collect the ball last Saturday and unfortunately getting that red card, which wasn't a red card, but he seems to be the man who does the legwork, the running back, while Aaron O'Connor just sits on the last defender, and when he's given that opportunity goes forward. And that's exactly what Rhys Honus was doing at the start of the season as well. So yes, we have got some identical players or players who play very similar, but actually we've got quite a few dynamics now at front, and that's what Kettering need for the rest of the season.
It is indeed. Dynamics is what it is all about, and work ethic, I know, are two of Marcus's favourite words, and we certainly need to keep those words going for the future. We're going to call it an afternoon or an evening. A blustery one it was. It was a fantastic scoreline in the end for the Poppies, a 3-0 scoreline in very, very dangerous and difficult conditions for all concerned, but we came out on top of it. We go again at Banbury United next week with myself and Ed Palmer. We'll be giving you full live commentary on that game. It's back here against Hitchin the week before Christmas on the 22nd. Bring all your family and friends to buy all Martin Bellamy's merchandise in the clubhouse. We're delighted to take your money off you for the Poppies. But from me and the Poppies TV crew, Matt Spearman, Ed Palmer, Peter Short and Gary Foreman, good night.